first one.
There we go. Yeah, I think it's working. Make sure that they can all hear us first.
Uh,
Can everyone hear us?
Still looks like it says it's waiting for me.
Hmm.
Oh, nope, nope, never mind. We're good.
All right, is it
I see it.
working? Wow, it actually worked
Yeah,
right
yeah.
away this time. Awesome. Everyone in the chat, can you hear both of us loud and clear?
Blah, blah, words, words, and
Don't
stuff.
want to I don't want to sound like I'm talking to the air for 30 minutes before I look in the chat and someone's like, "Where's Gafford?" It's just you talking to yourself, which has happened before. There's one stream I did like 2 or 3 years ago. I went a half hour just talking to myself.
Oh, that happens sometimes. Or when you think that you're not on mute and giving someone some really good input, and they're just like, has anybody seen Ice? Like, oh, I've been on mute this entire time.
Interesting because OBS says it's not picking up my mic at all, so it's weird that people can hear me.
Is it running your mic through as a different audio source?
Actually, yeah, can you guys hear me or just Fred? Is it the other way around? Can they
I
actually
hear you. I'm listening on the stream, and you sound perfectly clear.
All right, cool. Then OBS is just lying to me. All right, everyone, here is the Matthew Gafford stream.
Here I'm is.
And I don't even know where the hell to begin. I guess we could start talking about, a particular Nintendo franchise that we're both attached to, that being Pikmin.
Pikmin.
No, I'm just kidding.
I remember that game.
So yeah, I guess. Oh, you actually like Pikmin?
Don't Suffocate, the simulator. I played the original one back in like 2003, I think it was. I played it after I played Metroid Prime. It was neat. It was a little cute game, but I never really got to finish it.
Yeah, I actually really liked the first two Pikmin games. I never played the third one though, but anyway, yeah, I guess let's get to Star Fox then, since that's kind of what we're both known for.
I grew up with Saturday morning cartoons, Nelvana, the people who made Rock and Rule and the Care Bears, Martin Rosen, the Watership Down and the Plague Dogs, Kevin Gillis with the raccoons.
There we
Bucky
go.
O'Hare.
Yeah, I think it's working.
I love cartoons like that, and got into Sonic when I was like 8 or 9 years old. And then Star Fox came out. I got it release week in 1993, and that became like my favorite thing ever.
Nice.
Like Post-its. The little yellow square books that you'd write little yellow notes and sticky notes.
Oh my god.
I used to get the little yellow Post-it note flip books. A little, like you pull sticky notes, the little yellow things you pull off and stick on a refrigerator.
I have one in my hand right now.
Awesome. And I
still use them.
I would go to Sam's Club and buy them in bulk and make little flip books of, R-Wings and Fox McCloud singing Phil Collins songs and little Mortal Kombat stick figure fatalities and things like that. And that's what got me into animation. Then I got a VHS player and did stop motion where you just record and then hit pause and move everything around a little bit, unpause, and then pause again. So my original stop motion cartoons would be like 2 frames a second if I did it right. And it was just with the tracking of the VHS being god awful. That's how I got into cartoons. Then I got Flash, Mac Flash, Macromedia Flash when I was in high school, 1998-ish. And 2 or 3 years later, I got so obsessed with programming video games in like Visual Basic and DirectX 1 or 2 or whatever it was that school suffered. I dropped out of high school in what was supposed to be my junior year. I think I was still technically in 10th grade. And that was 2001. I was too obsessed with making video games and Flash cartoons to pay attention in school. It just wasn't for me. Like if I had had a mentor back then, I'd be a lot farther along than I am now. but like it's just, parents didn't know what the fuck to do with me. Oh, can we? Sorry about that. Can we? Is is there swearing?
Yeah,
Can I say
swearing's allowed. Swearing's allowed.
right.
Estelle's already cursed a shitstorm on my stream
Awesome, awesome.
in both English and French.
Oh yeah, I was watching that. Mild.
Mad.
But I just I'm sorry, I'm just rambling about my past right now. But
No, please do
I
ramble.
couldn't pay attention. Dropped out of high school. Worked a bunch of shitty minimum wage jobs for most of my adult life until I got a Patreon for, something, the animated series that eventually became a something in something.
Yeah, Patreon has been a miracle for,
Yeah, it
for
really
people
is.
like you and me too.
I'd be digging ditches and scrubbing toilets in gas stations right now if I didn't have Patreon. And now that I've had it, even if I don't have it after this, I've built so many animating skills and stuff while working on this that I have some permanent skills and trades that I know how to do that might be able to save me from retail hell. But I'm not above it. If things really fell apart and I had to go back to working at Walmart or something, I could probably hack it for a little bit for irreparable scars on my human psyche.
I still have one foot in not the retail, but I work at a warehouse. Even though I've got a Patreon, I still got one foot there just in case everything goes to hell.
Were you a picker? Picker or
I used to just be like a general warehouse clerk, so I'd pick items, I would take stock of everything, and I'd ship all of our stuff out. But I'm in a position now where I work on. I have more of a desk job now where I sit at a computer.
You've ascended.
Yes, I've ascended.
I was a picker more than anything at all. They're like, "Oh, are you a mover and a shaker?" Yes, sir. Absolutely. And it just did. Yeah, I stayed there where I could, not getting any promotions, so you can do more damage as a sergeant on the battlefield, I guess.
Yeah, I spent about 8 years just packing clothes and items and stuff and putting them on the shipping conveyor belt, and then they finally promoted me about 2 years ago.
Right on. As long as it's worth it, as long as you're always moving up. If I get any job where you don't go up too quick, you got to get out and find something else, especially if they're trying to keep you where you are.
Yeah, ideally, I would just like to make crappy video games full time for the rest of my life. Yeah. But the world's a very weird place right now, so I'm kind of a bit afraid to leave the normal world to do my weird video game shit.
Yeah, best thing, stay with what you've got that's keeping a roof over your head and build the other thing until it becomes as big as or bigger than your current draw, and just very cautiously, carefully step off of one platform onto the other.
Hopefully I could do it.
It's all about having proof of concept, and you have that in spades, my friend. You have it's like anybody that's like, I'm gonna make a Star Fox video game and it's gonna have this, it's gonna have this, it's gonna have this. I just need to hire people, but if you want to go ahead and subscribe to my thing, no one's gonna touch it. I was talking about this with a friend the other day. No one will touch it. You have to have a proof of concept.
Yeah, that was me 15 years ago, and like you said, no one will listen to you. No one listened to me, so I just was like, all right, I'll just figure out how to do it all myself, and here I am, almost 15 years later.
But now you've got a fan base and a community of people who know that you are working on it and you are showing progress and actually giving people demos of things and seeing the actual levels and stuff. Whereas some people will just throw up a black and white storyboard that they made 6 years ago. And this is what I'm going to do, guys. Really, I just need to get the money first. And no one that's selling snake oil. There's a dime a dozen. The people that get on Patreon and start a Patreon and they get $1 from their mom or something, and then 6 months later they're like, well, it didn't work out because I didn't get any support. It's like, well, you didn't post anything. When I made my Patreon for Star Fox the animated series, when it started, I I busted my ass for about 2 or 3 weeks beforehand and made a minute or minute and 10 seconds or so of finished post effects footage and everything, and put it up. And I was like, all right, I made this in about 2 or 3 weeks by myself. This is what the cartoon's going to look like if this takes off. And it got over $1,000 for the month. For like 2 days later, it was already up at like 1,000. So I quit my gas station job. I was like, I'm not even making $1,000 a month at my gas station job. So if I'm doing this, I'm going to take it seriously. And it stayed around, 1,700 a month, 1,800 a month. And then I released episode 1. They're like, hey, he followed through. So then, it went from there to, 2,000, 3,000. And I was like, well, hey, if I can actually live on my own now, because episode 1 was almost entirely made living in a camper by the creek, not even van down by the river. Like, I know that
I can relate
joke,
to that.
But, living in a little 13-foot Shasta Deluxe camper.
Awesome.
With, a water hose running to it, and just waking up every day and streaming on YouTube for 16 hours, drawing star foxes.
Yeah, you kind of are like a bit of a white pill for me. That someone, who could live in a camper.
Right on.
Someone who could live in a camper just doodling cartoons in his spare time while working shitty jobs could end up becoming like making the thing that you've made and actually seeing reward for it too. It's because I'm not a pessimist, but I'm a pretty cynical person, so it's just it's actually a little bit heartwarming to kind of see your story.
Yeah, it feels good where I am now. Now I'm at the point after episode 2 is released. I'm at the point where it's like, all right, this is going somewhere. Let's try to get a studio together. And some of you might know the artist Too Much Dynamite and Bubba Gummy, my other buddy. Like, they both do their own stuff, but now they're both working on in-betweens for episode 3 of A Fox in Space. And we're getting a lot of progress done a lot faster than I would have gotten it done by myself.
I'm already looking forward to episode 3. I wonder why.
Yeah. It's great. And I know there's some people in here that are skeptical about me regarding Crystal. I do want to touch on that briefly. Like I said, I've made jokes. I've made fun of characters. The character that I have made fun of in Star Fox more than any other character is Fox McCloud.
You've embarrassed him quite a bit in the first episode.
Yeah, I have made jokes about Crystal. I'm sure everybody here knows how I kind of feel about, like, I feel she could have been a deeper character in Adventures, while the voice acting and the game itself, Star Fox Adventures, I love the game. It's a beautiful game. It was a good memory for me, but it did just feel like furry Ocarina of Time with a flying mini game in it.
That's exactly what it was.
And I like the direction they took Crystal in Star Fox Assault, but I didn't really like the voice acting in it. If they had the direction of Star Fox Assault with the voice acting of the characters from Adventures, I think that would have evened things out a bit. But in episode 3, Crystal is going to show up. She's, everybody's like, oh, he's going to make her a bad character. It's like, no. I was like, have you seen my cartoon so far? Even the silly characters that have a little silly side to them, I take them seriously. And I want to quell any heated rumors or anything right off the bat. I look forward to designing her as a decent character with a deep background. It's going to be completely different. There's no Saria. There's the Serenian thing, magical staff that shoots like stock sound effect fire and talking dinosaurs. While that's fine on its own, that's not the direction I'm going to take with her and General Scales and whatnot in the cartoon. No, she's not going to be General Scales' boyfriend or girlfriend that chews gum with her mouth open. That was a joke. I have General Scales have a girlfriend who annoyingly chews her gum with her mouth open, but I've got this really awesome warrior lizard chick in mind for that. I know I said it was going to be Crystal, but I was harping on somebody who was calling me trash.
You have no
I
idea how many people have come to me saying like, "Did you know he did this thing with crystal and scales years ago?" And I'm like, "That sounds kind of funny."
Yeah, yeah. It's hilarious as like a joke, but I understand there's a big chunk of the Star Fox fandom that really likes Crystal, and like I said, I don't hate Crystal. I'm critical of the way she was handled in the first game. Like, oh, there's finally a main character girl, and she gets captured, and they play sexy saxophone music when she shows up for the first time with Fox, and she's in a metal bikini, and you got to save her, and you don't get to like. I just didn't like the way that was handled. Nothing personally against the character. I wanted, like, I'm one of the people that saw the beta of Dinosaur Planet, where you actually get to play as her a whole bunch, and Saber and whatnot, and I would love to play that game finished.
Yeah, the ROM is that
it.
got leaked a year or two ago. It was really eye opening.
Is it good? I never played it. I never got a chance to.
The ending is missing, and they've done their best to patch it up. So there's still some missing stuff in it, but there's a lot of, like, it's insane how much of that game was cut out in the transition to Star Fox.
Right.
And the irony is, and this might just be my opinion, but I feel like a lot of the stuff that was originally in it actually fits better in the setting of Star Fox than what we ended up getting.
Than the GameCube game.
Yeah,
I
it's
totally agree.
really
From
weird.
What I saw,
like
I
in
love Rare games. I love, like, Jet Force Gemini, Banjo-Kazooie, like all of their games were like, they were adventure games. Even the action games, like, getting into semantics, splitting hairs between action versus adventure. They were adventure games. It's different than just like, action, beat 'em up, shooty shoot, bang bang, and whatnot. Like, you actually like explored places and met characters, and choices mattered and whatnot. And I always loved those. But I felt the Star Fox aesthetic was just shoehorned into it.
It was. It really was.
I don't think at all that it was a bad game. I think it was a beautiful game, and the music was good. The voice acting was great, but it's like Resident Evil 6. RE6, I love the game. It's like co-op Max Payne with zombies. Great, wonderful game. Is it a Resident Evil game?
Nope.
Not really. But otherwise, it's a fun video game standing on its own.
Yeah, Star Fox in general has had a very strange kind of identity problem throughout its entire run, which sadly wasn't that long of a run. Kind of seems like Nintendo's abandoned it.
Yeah.
I'm like, even
just sharing a drink with the F-Zero clan right now.
Yeah. I mean, even right out of the gate, Star Fox 2 is pretty different from the original one.
Yeah, it almost, like, later on in the game, it feels it was right on the cusp of PlayStation 1. So, like, when you're in the little chicken walker thing moving around inside buildings, and you have to remind yourself, this is a Super Nintendo game, but, like, holy shit, this feels like an early beta of a release title for PlayStation. From a
technical standpoint,
so
Star Fox 2 is extremely impressive.
I remember the thing that Dylan said, Cuthbert, about, like, the Super Nintendo is just basically a fancy plastic box that houses the FX chip. Like, I can totally relate to that, because seeing the stuff that is like, yeah, this is like moving away from, mode 7 and things like that, and straight into, like, 3D acceleration, even though it was so old.
Yeah, from a technical perspective, I think Star Fox 2 is extremely impressive. I mean, even the original Star Foxes. So it's just, I don't know, it's just so weird that Nintendo's kind of abandoned the whole franchise. I mean, I'm sure they haven't abandoned it, but it just, I don't know what the hell happened.
Yeah. I recently went to New York City last year around November, and everybody's like, oh, Fred, you gotta go check out the Nintendo store, Times Square or whatever. And I was so excited. I was like, I'm gonna go there, I'm gonna see some Star Fox stuff, it's gonna be
I know
awesome.
where this is going.
And I get there, and it's just Mario and Zelda and Pokemon and the Squid Ink game, splatty Splatty Bros. Splatoon. That's it.
Splatoon.
Okay, sorry. I had to think. It's basically just Call of Duty for little kids with a mess. But
I'm not surprised at all by that. I don't know what the truth is, but the way it just looks like it's like it's some albatross around their neck, and they want nothing to do with it, but they're like stuck with Star Fox.
yeah.
And they just won't they've kind of experimented by kind of handing it off to Namco here and Ubisoft there, but it's like, because they're such a controlling company, they're too afraid to just sell it off to someone who cares.
Yeah. Nintendo really needs somebody new. I might say young as well, but like, especially with the stuff recently with that Bowser guy. Oh my God.
Oh my God. Yeah, the freaking, what doesn't he owe them, like 10 million for the rest of his life or whatever?
Yeah,
that was insane.
Just bad PR. I don't know. It's just a little weird.
And yet they still maintain one of the craziest, biggest fan bases I've ever seen. It's insane. The goodwill that company had managed to build up in the 90s, that they've been able to coast off of it for so long.
Even though the ever trustworthy critics at Rotten Tomatoes did not like it, everybody else loved the Mario movie. Have they said anything that they're gonna go forward with another Mario movie because this one made so much friggin' money?
I wouldn't be surprised. Obviously there's a bunch of articles saying, they're making a ton of Nintendo movies now, but I don't trust anything until I actually, see a trailer.
Yeah.
Or, some guy at Nintendo being like, oh yeah, we're doing this.
NCU.
The NC. I haven't seen the Mario movie. Maybe it's good, but I'm kind of dreading what that whole NCU thing might end up being.
Yeah, I don't know, but I mean, it's Japanese people in control of everything, and not like, whoever in Hollywood is in charge of all the Marvel stuff, Taika Waititi or Kathleen Kennedy, or I don't really follow these movies that much. I like Guardians of the Galaxy. I'll always see a Guardians movie, but like
wonderful taste.
Spider-Man and Ant-Man and all that stuff, like I don't care. Like I followed Iron Man all the way up to Avengers Endgame in theaters, and after that it's just like, all right, like these other new people, I don't care. Like,
pretty much in the exact same. I think the exact same way. The first,
I don't think they're bad. They're like the Call of Duty of movies. Every single one of them, every single Call of Duty that I've seen, that I've played on its own, like if there were no others that existed, it's a great game. Like they're fun, but when you realize that there's been like 20 of them and you keep getting the same engine with slightly different run through corridor and get item, hold X on the item while NPCs cover you, shooting other NPCs, go, run down corridor. It kind of feels like that watching some of the movies that they put out now.
Yeah.
It's like, another origin story with plot dice. All right.
Yeah, I'm not surprised that you like Guardians of the Galaxy. I mean, to me, that's kind of the closest thing to a Star Fox movie that I've seen, I think, in my lifetime.
Other than Bucky O'Hare.
Yeah.
Bucky O'Hare in like 1990. Like, that is the closest TV cartoon that exists to Star Fox. You've got like the main character that pilots the ship. You've got the girl side character that's like, kind of isn't his girlfriend, and she's like, I'm an empath and I psychically detect cries of pain coming from the planet. Like, it's literally Star Fox. You've even got like I'm the Commander Dogstar. His name's Dogstar. I'm the hound dog that wears the almost General Pepper outfit, and you have to listen to me, Bucky. Like, it's literally Star Fox, but with different character names and stuff, and it's a good show.
It pretty much
I really
is,
like
yeah.
that. Like, even back then, I was like, this is kind of like Bucky O'Hare, but with Dark Crystal Jim Henson Muppets. Because that's what I wanted. Like, when the first game came out and they had all the puppets that they made for the promos, I wanted so bad. Like, even back then in 1993, like, me and my sister loved Labyrinth and the Dark Crystal. And I was like, man, if Jim Henson would make those puppets from the cover of the Super Nintendo game into like an actual show, that'd be so good. It's like when
actually,
they announced Star Fox Zero and the Jim Henson puppets for that, I lost my mind. I was so hyped for it.
on that subject of Jim Henson and things kind of like Star Fox, are you familiar with Farscape?
Yeah, we were just watching a couple episodes the other day.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going back through season 1 again.
Farscape is fantastic.
So good.
I just went through the whole thing about a year ago after I hadn't seen it in 20 years, and it holds up so well.
It's so great. Get out of my way, Crichton. What are we doing here? I'm an astronaut. And what's going? Yeah, it's such a good show. Like I really like. Yeah, it's corny a little bit, but like when you're doing stuff with Jim Henson puppets, you have to suspend your disbelief of a few things and let them. It's no better or worse than early seasons of The Next Generation, which is
I would say it's better
love.
than the. It's what?
I said, which is another show I love. Like
Yeah,
I love
TNG
Next Generation.
Have you been
TNG,
keeping
TNG
up with
all
the
way.
new Picard?
I started watching the first season of Picard. I couldn't get it. It was like watching an Evanescence music video.
Yep.
Like
I only
in
watched
black
about
leather, ninja flipping and firing machine guns and saying the fuck word. But I hear even the like super based, super skeptical critics really still liked season 3 though. I heard that they came in for a landing on season 3, but that's still not good enough to make me go through season 1 and 2.
Don't go through season 1 and 2. They are absolutely abysmal.
But like everybody I talked to that hated season 1 and 2 that aren't just like blindly, clout chasing, trying to talk crap about anything. They're like, look, you know how I feel about season 1 and 2, right? I'm like, yeah, I haven't seen them, but I know how you feel. They're like, it hurts me to say this, but season 3 is actually really good, and you should check it out. All like Riker and everybody, Jonathan Frakes and Spiner and everybody comes back, and then I might just skip to that and get like a previously on Picard, like you just get like a recap. I used to do that with Supernatural.
All you need to do if you go into season 3, all you need to know is that Picard's got a robot body. That's literally all you need to know. He got super sick and he's got a robot body. Spoilers. That's all you need to know going into season 3.
Is it still his brain, or did they do like a Johnny Depp thing and download him to a synthetic brain or something?
See, I didn't finish the first season, but I'm under the impression they downloaded him into like some android body because he was dying.
Right.
But I guess what I'll say about season 3 is it's better than Nemesis, but it's not as good as All Good Things as an ending.
Right.
So I kind of should give you where your expectations should lie.
Nemesis, that's a throwback. I was like a teenager when that came out.
Yeah, I saw that. I think I was 14 or 15 when Nemesis came out, and that was a weird movie.
Yeah. I was excited for Picard. I really was. And then I saw like the first couple episodes. I was just like, it's one of those things where I'd prefer just not to see this at all, to keep my internal canon more purified. It was like with The Matrix. Same thing with The Matrix. There's a lot of movie series where I loved the first movie, felt alone, it was a masterpiece. Second movie, a little corny, a little over-sexualized, but still kind of okay. And then I heard the third movie was such a tropey mess that I didn't see it. I was like,
you still haven't seen the third Matrix to this day?
No,
you don't need
not
to.
At all. all I heard that it was like the Bible mixed with Dragon Ball Z.
Kind of. That's not a bad comparison.
2004, like like when it was in theaters, my buddy Gmo was like, "Don't go see it. It's basically the Bible meets Dragon Ball Z." It was really corny. Just
it is a very strange movie. I remember walking out of the theater and like I saw it with my father and we're just sitting in the car like, what the hell just happened? Like we weren't even sure what the hell we were like. Neil's having like a Dragon Ball Z fight with Hugo Weaving. It's so weird.
I just pretend the fourth one doesn't exist. I read a synopsis of it. I was like, no, this is like the Matrix deviant art division. No, thank you.
Yeah, I haven't seen the fourth one. I probably never will. And they totally missed the opportunity to call it the Matrix reboot.
Oh, geez, rebooted.
Matrix rebooted. That would have been perfect.
Yeah, no, but yeah, like there's so many. I can't think of any right off the bat. There's so many trilogies and things that I've seen where the first one by itself is an absolute masterpiece. The second one is like, you really didn't need to make a second one, but it's okay. And then by the time they get to the third movie, it's just like, no, why don't do this?
Yeah, that's a pretty common pattern from a lot
Oh,
of franchises I can think of. There's a few exceptions though. This probably is a popular opinion, but I think the third Indiana Jones movie is shockingly good compared to the second and even the first one sometimes.
I am a Temple of Doom fan. Temple of Doom was my first, and I like Zelda 2, The Adventures of
Yeah, I'm
Link,
with you on Zelda too.
and I like Ghostbusters 2.
I'm with you with Ghostbusters 2 and Zelda 2.
I still think Ghostbusters 1 is obviously a better like origin story thing, but like I remember seeing the second one when I was younger. I was like, "Oh my God, they added so much and then they're really great and whatnot." I get how it was like separated from the first one, but you know, compared to the next Ghostbusters movie we got, 1 and 2 are fine. Like
I avoided the second Ghostbusters movie most of my life because of its reputation, and then I finally watched it for the first time like a year ago, and I'm like, this is great. What the hell? Why do people hate this movie?
Yeah. One thing I will say, and like I had this opinion, I went on the internet and spammed people about this in Ghostbusters forums back in like 2009. If you want the closest thing to a tried and true Ghostbusters 3, you got to play Ghostbusters the PC game. Ghostbusters the video game is the one. It takes place right after the second movie.
I got to
It's
try
got
that.
all the voice actors. They just recently, a couple years ago, released an HD remaster of it. And you play as a new guy, the newbie or whatever, the rookie, and it's got all of the voice actors. Everybody except Rick Moranis came back. Totally like his character's like out sick in every level in the game and everything. But Ghostbusters the video game. There's one on Nintendo Wii where you're like a big head chibi like.
Oh, I do know the game you're talking about. I remember the Wii version. Yeah, I remember the Wii version.
Not the Wii version, the PC version. You can get it on Steam right now. If you are a Ghostbusters fan and you want a true Ghostbusters 3 experience with that, you got to play that. It's literally an unused script for that Dan Aykroyd had for Ghostbusters 3, and they finagled it into a video game script. It takes place after the second one. It's in the 90s, like it's right there. It's not like, oh, they're all old now. Like, no,
they're all in their
it's
70s now.
Yeah. No, I heard the new one, even though it's, nostalgia goggles or whatever. I heard the new Ghostbusters movie is all right, and I do want to see it.
I haven't seen it yet.
But
I really do kind of avoid all the new stuff.
Yeah, like there's so much like HD remake and remaster and reimagining stuff going on right now. I'm just super skeptical.
Yeah, I'm pretty cynical about a lot of the, digging up all the old stuff and bringing them back for one last time, which is why, Picard season 3 is a little bit of a weird anomaly. It's like, wow, this is actually okay.
Yeah. I think I might actually watch it. I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to go back and watch season 1 and 2. I'll take a recap.
Don't watch 1 or 2.
Yeah, no,
they basically ignore.
Like
they ignore. As far as I'm
2.5 episodes in the first season, I was like, this is embarrassing. I can't.
That's
fucking hubris. Yeah, no, I can't do that.
Oh God.
It was embarrassing. It was like watching a Evanescence video. Everyone's in like black leather and ninja flipping and firing machine guns. I was like, this is not next generation. I bow out.
Star Trek's
I give
been
it
quite an embarrassment for like a decade now.
for a
Some
while, yeah. But I think these people are gonna start realizing like, hey, when we try to do all of this stuff and people don't like it, we're losing money. Let's do what everyone wants. And a lot of people hate to hear me say this, but the Orville is more Star
It
Trek
is. It really
than
is.
most of the Star Trek stuff I've seen in like 10 years. I
I
remember
love
watching
the
it like the
Orville.
first episode. I'm like, oh, okay, it's Family Guy, it's Star Trek with fart jokes or dick jokes or whatever. But like 2, 3, 4, 5 episodes in, I was like, somebody that worked on the Next Generation is probably working on this show because the intermissions and the bumps and transitions between, when they go out and show the ship on the outside and it's bum 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 bum
Yep.
bum bum bum, and then they cut back into a different section of the ship. It literally feels like a Next Generation episode.
Especially by the second
With
season, they're totally going the best of both worlds route in the
yeah,
second
and I love
season.
Bortus. Like
Let's
almost every single
come.
character. This is called a cigarette. I will try it. Like you like the characters, and I started realizing like I'm remembering the names of the characters. That's the first.
That's the first sign
thing
that something's
that you
good.
can tell
Exactly.
that something's good. Aside from Game of Thrones, like I liked the early mid Game of Thrones, but I could not remember anyone's name. Oh, this is Sagittarius, Denara Sitius from the realms of Gobatarius, and I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna call him Jim.
Incest Jim.
It's, it's the things I do for love. Literally a quote from the first episode before he pushes the boy out the window.
Yep. Yeah, I was pretty late to Game of Thrones. It was one of those shows, everyone was freaking out about, which I guess I'm a bit of a hipster. I'm always suspicious when everyone's just like, this new random thing is amazing, so I kind of avoided it.
Yep. I avoid shit when people talk too much about a thing. I'm like, I'll check it out in 4 years when all the political jargon is like.
Yep. So I was getting into Game of Thrones when everyone was melting down about how terrible it'd become. I'm like, this is
season
wonderful.
8 or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll never watch season 8 again. It's so bad.
Like the first couple of it is all right, and then when you see where it's going, it's like they do all these tricks. There's this one where like the guy's got the disease and the other buddy is like, I'm gonna help scrape this disease off of your body, the grayscale stuff or whatever. And then he like digs his fingers into the guy's back to pull the infection off, and it instantly cuts to a dude scooping into a bowl of
pie.
or the pie. Right? I'm sure.
Yes, I know the
what I'm
exact
talking
scene you're
about.
talking about.
There were 2 episodes back to back where they did that shit like 3 or 4 times, and I'm like, all right, who did you pass this off to? Stop doing this. This is not what you guys started doing. They're like, oh, I'm gonna hand it to my nephew. He's a budding director, and he's got some cool tricks on him. It's like, oh god, yeah, it made me roll in my seat. Yeah, the chicken pot pie scoop thing. It was like, oh god. I forget what the other one was, like someone falling off a cliff, like, ah! And then they cut to someone like cracking an egg in a pan, cooking eggs or something. It was so dumb. It's like
Yeah, the A season, especially like the last several episodes, I was laughing so hard. I was just completely out of breath. I'm like, what? How did a show like this good end up turning into this, like all at the end? It was.
And absolutely nothing against the actors, because you can see the interviews of the actors before it dropped.
They knew what was coming.
Like, super wide-eyed. Like, the lady that played Daenerys and Jon Snow and everybody, they were just like, Kit Harington, everyone. They were just like, it's
the shortest season.
Different. You're going to be surprised. It's super different. It's like poor old Mark Hamill. Bless his fucking heart. Oh my God. I can't like Mark Hamill, 100%, dude. Like I simp for that guy. Like that dude is aware. He knows what's up. He like he's making his money. Make your paper, boo boo. I don't fucking care. But like if you can get him like once his contract and NDA has expired and all that, I'd be like, yeah, this was embarrassing. Yeah, this is it's part of the contract, but I didn't agree with it, and I wasn't allowed to talk about it because Disney's all wah wah wah.
The looks of despair on his face in those interviews is just it's amazing and heartbreaking at the same time. He looks
but it's
so sad. He's like, oh my god, they're all gonna see what we just did. It's gonna be
it's satisfying though to know that he's aware of it and he feels that way about it. Because like otherwise, like everything he's done is Joker and even skips from regular show, like all of his voice acting stuff. There's so many roles that I thought were great, and I had no idea the entire times I was playing the game that he was the one voicing the characters.
Yeah, he even showed up in Masters of Orion. That completely caught me off guard.
What was Masters of Orion?
The reboot one, I think it was in 2016 or 2017. It was it's a strategy game on the PC.
Right on.
Yeah, he plays a giant bird alien.
But
yeah, the looks on his face are just they're soul crushing. I still haven't seen the last Star Wars movie he was in. I was just
No, the sequel trilogy. Okay, this is another thing. Prequel trilogy. I saw Phantom Menace, the Phantom Menace in theaters. The Phantom Menace. Yeah, I saw Star Wars: The Phantom Menace in theaters. I was 15. Is the first Star Wars movie in theaters since I was 83 or whatever when I was 1 year old.
1 year old.
When was the last one came out. But I liked it. I thought it was okay. Jar Jar was kind of, it was like a Disney movie. You have all these serious characters, and then you have the one like Beetleborf or whatever, and everyone's like, we're gonna do it, we're gonna save the day, and then this little guy like knocks over a vase or something, and everyone's like, Beetleborf, and he's like, so sorry guys, or whatever. That was Jar Jar, and I heard that they gave that guy a redemption arc, like the voice actor, whoever, in one of the new shows or something. But first movie, all that aside, I felt the first movie was kind of okay. It felt like a PC game where everybody was acting in front of green screen. Second movie, I can't remember what it was called. Not Revenge of the Sith, or the second movie, I fell asleep during. I tried to watch it. It felt like one of those like Sierra PC games where they have live, like Phantasmagoria, where they have like live action actors and their entire set is just a basement that's entirely painted lime chroma green, and there's just no real anything in it. And then the third movie, just like with The Matrix, first movie I saw it, thought it was good. Second movie, and third movie I just didn't even see. Exactly the same with the sequel trilogy. Force Awakens, I saw it in theaters twice. I watched it twice on Blu-ray or digital whatever, and thought it was all right. Yeah, Force Awakens. Yeah, people complain it was too much like one of the other movies. Honestly, the introduction of Kylo Ren and everything, I thought The Force Awakens was okay. It was fine. Like for like, this is the first thing we've had since like 2003 or whatever. It's fine. Kylo Ren was fine, whatever. And I was excited for the second movie. We sat down and started watching the second movie. Like,
I know the scene where you lost it, I bet. Where you're just like, I'm done.
Dropping the bombs and the girl that's like trying to drop the bombs and all this stuff, and then the alien blue titty milk thing and basically the moment where it's like, oh, the continuing scene from the first movie, now we're going to see what happens, and he throws it. It's like, boop, subverted expectations. Congratulations! And yeah, the second movie, like honestly, 30 minutes in, we were drunk and riffing it. And I asked my buddies, I was like, y'all, like every single other person there, we were all watching. What is it called? The Last Jedi, the second new one. And
I think it was Rogue One.
No, Rogue One was the set. Like, Rogue One was all right, but no, the three of them, it was The Force Awakens, The Last Jedi, and The Return of Skywalker, like the sequel trilogy.
Yeah.
Not just like chronologically all of the movies, but like The Force Awakens, I like it. I think it's good. Like, it was good. Then the second one, like episode, what is it, 7, 8, 9 are the new ones? So like episode 7, Force Awakens, episode 8, Last Jedi or whatever. I got into it and I was like, oh, they're going to continue The Force Awakens, all right. And then the moment that Mark Hamill just like chucked the lightsaber, like, oh,
that's how I felt about the script, probably.
Yeah, surprise! We surprised you, and it's just like, nah. and then like the Laura Dern's purple-haired lady character that's all is like yelling at the dudes was like, I'm gonna sacrifice myself and do warp to cut through this ship. It's like, that's not how decades worth of canon of how warp drive actually works. And if you were going to do that, why isn't everyone just kamikazeing their warp ships into big battle cruisers anyway?
With droids.
Like, that's not, that's not how it works. Like, you're not like blasting. It's like moving space around it. Like, if you look up, like, I'm not a huge nerd on this stuff, but that's not how warp works. That isn't how, and like, even like when I was watching it at this point, like, we were fucking 5 sheets to the wind. We had a dick in the dirt drunk at this point. And it's just like, that's not how, like, and just the rest of the movie, it's just, we just MST3K'd everything. And then just with The Matrix, third movie, didn't even see it.
Yeah, and I never saw the third new Star Wars movie, but
the Return of it was the Rise.
Rise of Sky. Rise of. I thought he already rose. Didn't he also fall too?
Oh God, it was so bad. Like, I didn't see it. I just saw clips of it. I was like, no. I saw the first clip I saw of it was the end of the movie. Spoiler alert. And they're like, "What's your name?" And Ray is there, and you hear everyone in the theater going, no, don't do it, don't you fucking dare. And she's like, Ray Skywalker, and everyone's like, no. And it's like, just seeing the clip that was just recorded on someone's phone in the theater, like day 2 after the release, just everyone going, don't you dare, don't you, Ray Skywalker. Like, yeah, I'm like, glad I dodged that bullet.
Yeah, I've only seen like 2 clips from it. I'll never watch that movie. To me, the most telling thing, because, I've been to all the Star Wars movies. I went to the special editions when they were in theaters, and every time the movie's over, all of them, even the prequels and Force Awakens, everyone's cheering, everyone's happy and clapping and leaving, and there's a bunch of noise. When The Last Jedi was over, it was dead silent.
Yeah,
and I was walking out of the theater with my fiance, and I looked at her. I'm like, I think I didn't like that movie.
It's like,
I don't think anyone did.
What's up? What is that? It's the new movie. They suck now. They suck now. Oh, like they fly now.
They fly now.
They suck now. Oh no. It was so bad. What I saw is just like every one of these, just like with the Matrix movie, right back to that. It's just you see clips of the third, and it's like the first one was good, the second one, and I'm looking at clips of the third. No thanks. They suck now. But like I will say this, I saw Rogue One. Without spoiling anything, you can't say like one single sentence about anything that happens in Rogue One without spoiling it. But have you seen Rogue One?
Yeah. I mean, if you know the premise, you know how it ends.
Yeah, It was awesome. I really liked it, but every single character that you see in Rogue One, you're like, wow, I really like the writing for this character. This is great. I hope that they use this character in future installments.
Oh.
Well, anyway. Well,
Anyway,
I like
that
these
was
two.
a brief little breath of fresh air.
These two characters make a good duo, and they're doing kung fu fighting and combining the force, and that's really cool. I hope that they make a series about. Oh, well, okay. And then this other guy like, oh, she's really awesome. I really like her arc, and I hope that they. Oh, well, all right. Without spoiling anything, I know you know what I'm getting at. I don't want to spoil anything for anyone who hasn't seen Rogue One. I do want to see Andor.
I've seen the first season of Andor. It's not that bad. It's kind of like Picard season 3. It's like, oh, this is a weird anomaly.
Like good
it's okay.
Writers, like, and then what's her face, Kathy or whoever? They're like, oh, now this is doing good. Let me touch it. Let me fondle it a little bit. It's like now. Just like Mandalorian. I felt Mandalorian 1 and 2 were like watching the original Conan movies for me.
Oh my god, yes.
Jeez. Or like Clint
the first
Eastwood
Conan movie is one of... Oh my... Okay, yeah, we got a lot to talk about.
I love both of them. Even Destroyer. Even Destroyer.
Yep, even Destroyer.
Destroyer was like the perfect D&D campaign.
Destroyer was the one I watched first, actually, before I saw the original.
Same. I saw Destroyer, and I thought that was the first one. And then I saw the first one. I'm like, what is this? Everything's all quiet and it's slow. Of course, I was like 7 years old. And then I get older.
Yeah,
I'm like, okay, yeah, I get it. The first one's better written, and it's a good Conan movie. But they're both, like, especially compared to the shit nowadays.
The first one has, to me, the first one does have the better scene of the two when he's freaking,
Absolutely.
He's dying. He's being crucified, and then the vultures are plucking at him. He just rips its head off.
Yeah, like
it's so perfect.
Classic Conan. But yeah, the second one's fun. Like, it's like the same way that Resident Evil is fun, and then Resident Evil 6 comes out, and it's like, oh, this is not Resident Evil, but like it's a fun campaign with you and your friends on an adventure or whatever. Like the second one, like I said earlier, it's a good campaign of things. Like, even though it's silly and cringy in places, it's a fun adventure movie from the 80s with Arnie in it.
I like Destroyer a lot. I like both of them.
Only pain.
I think they both do some things better than the other, but yeah. I like Destroyer a lot. And then the reboot, I made it about 20 minutes in it, and I kind of didn't finish it.
Oh wait, that's right. They did
They rebooted it
reboot, didn't they?
with Aquaman.
Oh yeah, Jason Momoa. Yeah, look at my eyebrow. Just this one. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. Jason Momoa is fine. He was great in Game of Thrones, and he's fine as Aquaman. I have nothing against Jason Momoa. But like this whole like rebooting, remastering thing just gets kind of after a while.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I heard you before I went on about Conan. I heard you mention Clint Eastwood. I freaking love Pale Rider and all the old spaghetti westerns he was in.
Yeah, Outlaw Josie Wales, the Dollar trilogy.
Which one's your favorite in the Dollar trilogy?
For a few dollars more.
Yes, that one's my favorite.
Oh, right on. Hell yeah.
Yep.
Had the best
for a few dollars more.
Best story and everything. And yeah, also Lee Van Cleef.
Yep.
Although I like Lee Van Cleef the best in Escape from New York.
Yeah, wasn't that one of his last roles?
I think so. He died like a couple years after that, I think.
Yeah, I think that might have been his last role, actually, in Escape from New York. Yeah, Lee Van Cleef is the best. He's the. I am kind of amused.
Obviously, you're a fan.
Yeah, I'm always amused in the Dollar trilogy that in each sequel, Clint Eastwood's kind of pushed further in the background, and another character kind of takes the starring role.
No, he was great in those. I love that. If I ever made a cartoon or something in the style of a Fox in Space with human characters, I hate doing stuff with human characters. I've always been furry cringe my entire life. But if I did something with human characters, it would have to be a Western, something in the style
if I live long enough, I've got art
Absolutely.
of it floating around, but if I live long enough, I'm making a Western game and all the characters are reptiles in it.
Right on. I'd like that.
I'm gonna have Estelle play a wine sipping lizard villain.
Awesome. Have you ever read the comic series Black Sad?
No, I don't think I've even heard of it. Black Sad.
You
Look this up.
definitely need to, as like an ex-Disney artist that has made a comic. It's like 1940s, 50s.
Oh, kind of like just looking it up, it looks kind of noirish just at a glance.
Yeah, like 40s, 50s detective noir about a black, like, panther cat character guy.
Yeah, I'll look into that.
One of the, like, and then there's, like, an entire, like, part of the neighborhood or whatever that's all just lizard, like, old lizard guys. There's a lot of, like, racism stuff, like Blackford characters and white, like, pure white wolf furred characters and stuff. 100%, dude, you have got to read, like, you can, but they have a hardback cover thing of, like, with all the stories put together, but find something, start at the beginning and read it. The first one, the second one, the third one, but start at the first, please. I strongly recommend it.
Apparently, there's a game for it on the Switch.
They made it. They made a game. It's kind of like a Telltale kind of style game on Steam and Switch and consoles and whatnot. But like, don't worry about the game. Just read. Get a copy of it. I'll buy it and send it to you. Like, it's that good. I don't care. Like, if you want to get it. Like, if you're wanting to make like a Western or like an old style thing with a bunch of lizard people and stuff, definitely check out Black Sad.
I'll definitely look into
it. It will blow your mind. For the past like 10 years, it's the best thing I've ever seen in my life.
I will definitely look into that then. Because, yeah, for about probably like, 12, 13, 14 years, I've been wanting to make like a Western game. And the main characters, they're all these reptiles. And it's just out in the middle of this desert. And they dig up like this like really weird medieval castle in the middle of the desert, and then all kinds of weird shit happens. Damn. Hopefully I'll live long enough to make that.
I'm having to do a lot of lizard-oriented stuff in my work right now. I don't know how much you've seen.
Yeah, I noticed some chameleons standing around.
Yeah, huge spoilers for Fox in Space Episode 3.
Sorry, guys, I spoiled it.
So the third episode starts out with it's cold open on Fortuna, and there's all these Slavic lizard guys. They're all speaking, Russian, Polish, Czech, or whatever, each other having a shashlik, a bug barbecue, where they've got all these, local fauna of Fortuna, big bug things skewered on a metal stick over a barbecue. And they're all standing around speaking Slavic languages and stuff, mostly Polish. And some of them are chameleons, some of them are snake people, lizard people, whatever. They're all reptiles. And then all of a sudden, Wolf lands with Bill's stolen ship. And, it's implied that they're waiting there for him. The nerdy lizard guy goes up and Wolf climbs out of the ship. And Wolf hands him the launch key, basically the car keys to the ship, and he hits the buttons and confirms that it's like the actual ship and key, and they're not getting ripped off. And then the rest of it is Wolf being driven in the back of a car to the compound of the Kowalski crime family, and then you find out that. Wolf talks to the head of it, Janusz Kowalski, this Polish lizard guy, and he's like, so giving you this ship, my father's debt is cleared, and he doesn't have to sell his motorcycle club. And Janusz is like, oh, you have done so well that the debt is cleared and then some. And if you want, because I know you can't leave because you're an outlaw now, I want you to come work for me. And he's like, yeah, absolutely, but you are not going to be talking to me. I'm not voicing this guy. I'm just doing a bit. But I want you to come work for me, but you and I will not be speaking directly. You will only be working with my son. And he's like, oh, Pyotr or Stanislav. And he's like, no, my youngest son. Leon, иди сюда. Like he tells him, come in here. And in walks, skinny 19-year-old chameleon lizard boy, Leon. He's a year older than Wolf. And Wolf's like, mam na imię Wolf, saying my name is Wolf in Polish. And Leon just kind of looks at him with dead eyes. He's just like, I am Leon. And he walks out of the room. And Wolf's just like, oh, thank God he speaks my language. Okay, whatever. But it's like, it's the first scene in the cartoon after he talks to Leon's father, basically. He's like, I stole this ship for you. You guys aren't going to cut my dad's head off. And he's like, this ship is worth way more than what your father owed. You've done well. And it's like the first mission in a Grand Theft Auto game. Hey, kid, you did real good. Come back here tomorrow, and I've got another job for you with my son. You're going to go rob a blah, 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 or, something like that. But it's basically going to be a scene where you see the birth moment of the Star Wolf team.
I do kind of like that dynamic you have in Fox in Space, where you're not quite sure if, Wolf is villainous or he's,
Absolutely same with Andros. In my cartoon, like, I want to get a little deeper into General Pepper, but mainly I want to get it across. Andros, in my cartoon, Andros is not like this, I control the life system and I'm going to kill everyone, or like anything like that. Like, it's like more like a Cold War thing.
Yep.
Like Andros and people on Venom and Macbeth and one or two other planets are like, feel things need to go a certain way, and Fortuna and Katina and Corneria have a certain other way of looking at things. Like, Andros is not a bad guy in my cartoon. If he's a little morally loose about certain things, absolutely. But General Pepper is all hardcore military planet where everybody here has to work for the military and blah, blah, blah. But like, in Andros, that doesn't mean Andros is a good guy either. General Pepper is a little bit, like, generally speaking, General Pepper is a little bit closer to being a good guy than Andros is. But neither of them are perfect. They're both manipulative. Like, if you have this, like, oh, General Pepper is a perfect politician and he's always honest and never does
military dictatorship that runs.
Yeah, and literally, and Andros is mean and bad, and the evil monkeys, they want to hurt everyone. It's like, no, the video games can be like that, but like Andros, like, if you look at the story, like the official canon, Andros used to work for Corneria. And
yeah, like the impression I got, even in the old games, and maybe I was just thinking about it too much, but I always got the impression that the only reason the Star Fox team is even fighting with Corneria against Andros is because it's personal, because Andros was connected to the death of Fox's father. I always had it in my head, like, if that didn't happen, then Andros would just hire Fox to fight Corneria. He'd just give him more money. And there'd just be like a bidding war between Pepper and Andros over, mercenaries. So I always got the impression that, like, Andros and Pepper are just like two petty warlords fighting each other. And naturally I kind of ran with that in my stuff.
Now, in my canon, I do have, people are asking in the chat, Макс Дегтярев, как вы себя чувствуете, мой новый друг? Как дела? I'm just saying hi, how are you doing? I do speak a little Russian, but Leon is, like, this is all the way back when I first started working on, like, in 2009, 2010. I was like, well, Leon's last name is Kowalski. I know it's a reference to Leon Kowalski from Blade Runner.
Really?
Like
I never made that connection. Wow.
Yeah, have you seen Blade Runner?
Yeah, I've seen the sequel too.
The interview at the beginning with the weird mustache guy, and he's like, "My mother? Let me tell you about my mother," and he shoots the guy.
Yeah, I never made that connection until you just pointed it out.
His last name is Kowalski. One letter difference, and they made Leon Kowalski as a reference to that character in Blade Runner.
I never made that connection. Wow.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
It took me until my late 20s. Please don't tell anybody, people in the stream. I'm embarrassed about admitting this in public, but it took me until my late 20s knowing that everybody's name is usually like Peppy Hare, Slippy Toad, Fox, McCloud, Wolf, O'Donnell. And I was like, well, Leon, he's a lizard guy. And then it's like, wait,
Chameleon, yeah. Chameleon.
I didn't catch that until I was like 28 years old. Like,
well, if it makes you feel better, I didn't realize the Leon Chameleon connection until a few weeks ago, so... And I'm in my 30s, so...
That's right. I mean, it's not like the whole thing is like, my name is Binturong Jenkins. It's like, oh, and because he's a Binturong. I get it. Like, oh, my God. What are these people saying in your chat? Опять быть будете не надо. Красная плесень. Sorry, people are speaking Russian now. Yeah, I've been learning Russian for a couple years, but now, since Leon is Leon's father is Polish, his mother is Russian, so Leon speaks both Polish and Russian, and I already have some Polish voice actors lined up. There's a couple of voice actors from The Witcher 3.
Holy crap.
The Witcher is a Polish novel series. So some people might consider the Polish dub of it to be the true thing or whatever. But I have a couple people, I mean, some of them are on Fiverr. You can just message them or whatever. But I have a couple of voice actors from the Polish version of The Witcher 3 who are going to voice Leon's father and a couple of his friends and Janusz's,
that's fucking awesome.
Minions or whatnot. I can't wait. I haven't contacted them yet, but like I have them listed. Like I have their rates. I got a quote from them for like, if I'm going to pay you, if I need 250 words, how much is it going to be? And I see the price. I'm like, that's way lower than what I expected. So yeah, I'm going to like heavily tip them once I get the stuff done. That's what's really horrible about voice acting on Fiverr. Voice actors are a dime a dozen. Everybody gets a Focusrite Scarlet and they think that they're Don LaFontaine. So even back in 2010, when I would get on there and like audition for voice parts and stuff, I would get the part, but then someone would like bid lower and then be like, oh, we're going with this guy. Sorry. And yeah, that's a lot of that.
Yeah, it's kind of become a meme for people who know me, but for some reason, since like 2008, I just nonstop, people always message me asking if they can do Star Fox voices for my stuff, even when I wasn't working on Star Fox stuff. I don't know what it is about Star Fox, but everyone and their grandma wants to do voices for Star Fox. It's so weird.
Yeah.
I never figured that out.
When I dropped episode 2, now I have like voice actors, voice casting agents, everyone like, hey, I know you're not asking for it right now, but here's my demo reel, and blah 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 blah. It's like I have my own special, eccentric, weird little way of getting hold of voice actors for things, and like brute forcing your way into my project is not the way to do it. I don't know. I don't go on the internet and be like, who is the most established voice actor? Like first off, I go through my friends. If you're familiar with Boogs, she's a friend of mine that I made, and her husband Kendall. Like I made friends with them back in like 2014, 2015, just when I was getting started, and we just drew draw pile together. I don't know if you've heard of draw pile.
I've not heard of draw pile.
It's an online drawing thing. You open a program and you connect and you all draw on the same canvas, like there's things where it's just a big white screen and you can stream while everyone's doodling together.
Yeah.
And we did that, and she would get on Skype. Yeah, I was about to say friggin'
Microsoft
Discord,
Messenger.
Yeah. This is back when Discord just was first getting started, but we were on Skype, and we would talk all the time and be like, you sound kind of the way that I picture Farrah Phoenix to sound in my cartoon. If I ever put Farrah Phoenix in my cartoon, Boogs, would you be up for voicing her? And she's like, hell yeah, like absolutely. And then that came to be. She was actually the first, because Farrah wasn't in episode 1, but when Wolf and Fox get off of the elevator in the first episode and it's like, Sargasso Lounge, enjoy your stay. That was her doing the voice for that. I was like, I don't have really any girl characters in this episode yet, and Farrah won't be in it until next episode, but if you can do this. And she did. She voiced the elevator. And then when I got to episode 2, like, Farrah's in a huge chunk of it.
Yeah, my favorite scene in episode 2, or maybe my second favorite scene, involves Farrah. But your story, how you got her as a voice actress, is almost exactly the same way I got Falco to do the guy who does Falco in my thing. I didn't know him.
Falco in Event Horizon.
He's a guy who goes by the name Gyroscope.
Yeah, I know Jiro. I've talked to him before.
Yeah, I think he said he met you at a convention once, actually.
Yeah. That was probably one of the last ones I went to, too. Oh, God, I haven't been in convention.
Yeah, I didn't know him at the time. He was just ended up in a call with me. The webcam's on. I'm watching him and his facial expressions and the way he sounds and his mannerisms, and I'm just like, do you want to voice Falco?
How I do it, dude.
And he has no experience voice acting either. I'm just like, you sound and just act like Falco when you're kind of yourself. Do you want to try out for Falco? He's like, sure.
The version that you see as the director. Yeah. That's great. I love when stuff like that happens. It's awesome. Because people are like, oh, here's my dimmer reel, and it's all, I will avenge my father's death. Like all this white knuckle voice acting stuff, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But like my stuff that I create, I want people that don't sound like a voice actor. I know that's a super snooty thing to say, but that doesn't mean I don't want to hire like established voice actors. It's just I want a lot of my scenes to come across kind of, like down to earth, grounded, human, believable. Just like Zyavox is in the chat. That's my buddy Jason. He voices Kajekus, the bearded lizard customs agent. In the scene, he's like,
down, they're patting him
down. Gonna marble somebody to death. And like him and like my buddy Laughin, who voices the hyena there. He's an established voice actor. Zyavox was not, but like, it didn't matter to me. Like, I knew exactly, like, I know what this hyena guy, I want him to sound like. Laughin, my buddy Laughin, Jonathan Jones, who voiced Riendo, the hyena guy. Like, he was perfect for it. And, like, my friend Zyavox, like, I've known him for several years, and just after a point, I was like, I need this voice for this character. And honestly, just talking to my buddy Zyavox on Discord, and he's a local friend, my friend Jason, he sounded like the guy that I wanted that voice to be for. So I asked him, I was like, hey, Zio, I know this sounds weird, but can I just get you to say these few things really quick, just in a regular voice? Not because Zio is like, he's a great voice actor. He does like all the wacky, deep, gravelly voices and stuff, like the white knuckle voice acting, if you will, like the hello, like if you can get into it, I get into it a little bit, but it's not what I'm. Yeah, like he would be a great Sharp Claw for sure, but. Like I got with him to do the lines just to see if it would work. And, there's a correction here or there and a little bit of direction and whatnot, but it was literally like an hour or two of work Like, it wasn't like, oh, some of these were good, but I got to get back with you tomorrow. It's like, no, we literally sat down in a Discord call and he knocked it out in like 2 or 3 takes per line in like an hour. And I was like, this is good. This is all I need. That's perfect. Same thing with my buddy Laughing that did the hyena guy in that scene. And they didn't even, like, I didn't even have them bouncing off of each other. I did the recording sessions completely separate. If you can just put that's the important thing. You gotta sometimes, don't do like Silent Hill. Don't pull a Silent Hill where you play it like, that was a really close call. Long pause. Yes, that was a close call. Who are you? Long pause. My name is John. What's your name? Really long pause. I'm Mary. How long have you been here? Really long pause. I've been here for 3 hours. Like, you have to, like, especially in that scene, you notice they interrupt each other. Sometimes the voice clips, like looking at it in a linear form on a video editor, they're going to be overlapping a tiny bit, especially if it's 2 characters arguing.
Yep.
If you got 2 characters that disagree with each other, like in my cartoon, there's going to be a scene where like Wolf and another character at the bar talking, and then they start disagreeing with each other. You're going to have a lot of scenes where like, well, I thought that you said that you're like, don't talk to me about that, blah 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 blah. Like, and the clips are gonna slightly overlap a little bit, and you're gonna have someone, like, I thought that you said that you were gonna. Don't tell me that you thought I was gonna, like, even if the character's being interrupted on their 5th word, you still have them say the 6th and 7th word a little bit and trailing off. Because when people get interrupted, they don't immediately, instantly at that frame go mute. They're like, I thought that you were, a little bit of that as the other person starts harping in on them and accusing them of stuff. And just like recording them separately, if you put the sound clips super separately, it's going to sound like Silent Hill, where it's like blah, 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 pause, blah, 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 second character, blah, 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 pause, blah, 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 blah. Like, you've got to like overlap them a little bit. Not in every one of them. If you do in every one, it just makes it sound like all of the characters have ADHD like or something. or like some of the old Speed Racer episodes.
Or yeah, Speed Racer. Just like, I don't know why I didn't think of that.
Back and forth, like back and forth. But like when a character says something where in real life the other character would breathe a little bit and react and like think about it, don't be afraid to put those in. Put the pauses in where they feel like they're human. But if a character's saying something that's starting to get on another character's nerves, have them overlap a little bit. Have them interrupt. Don't be afraid to do that.
Yeah, I was actually agonizing over in the last scene I did when Fox and Crystal meet each other. The exact thing.
I was literally about. Go ahead. I'll finish. When
the part when Crystal's like, oh, I need to introduce you to my father, and then the actor Kyle
introducing me to Daddy.
Yeah, that was an improv line, and I was agonizing, like trying to get that timing just right. Like, does he do that instantly, or does he wait a few seconds before he comes back with that? I probably spent like an hour, like just slightly putting the sound, his voice clip back and forth to overlap it.
For some things like that, fractions of a second can make all the difference. Some things like that where comedic timing and timing of speech, like differences, I don't know what the industry fucking terms are, but some scenes where, like, perfect example, when Wolf says, "Can I see your legs?" and Fox looks back at him. My friend Kay, she suggested after seeing it, where it was like this, like, can I see your legs? You're serious? Well, like it was that quick. And she suggested to me, she's like, when he says, "Can I see your legs?" and Fox is like, "You're serious," I feel like it's a little too soon. I would say put maybe a quarter or even a half of a second pause before he says, "You're serious," or whatever. And I did it. The only difference in the delay after legs and "you're serious," the delay that I added in that scene finally was less than half of a second. Like,
that's all it takes sometimes.
Like that much time I added just to like that much pause I added to it. There was already a little bit of pause there, but that little pause of silence there made the scene and the reaction like 4 times funnier instantly. It's like, and I had no idea. I didn't think about it. He was just like, "Can I see your legs? You're serious." Well, people talk like it was just like, fine. I was like, this is fine. This is funny. It gets it, the scene, whatever. But she suggested that I add just a little bit more. So it's like, "Can I see your legs? You're serious." Well, like just adding that little bit of pause there, it gives the audience time to absorb it and laugh a little bit before Fox starts continuing the conversation. It won't always work on everything, but just like little examples of that, knowing, and sometimes it'll be the obvious or the opposite thing. Sometimes you'll have too much of a pause. And if you're like, this feels like the joke, like when he's like, guys, get the joke? And then it comes like too late, but then it's like blah, 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 joke, right? Like, and that's, sorry, I'm hitting a button here, but like, that's when you expect the laughter to be. And sometimes you won't know. Sometimes you will have to run it by some people say a fresh pair of eyes or a fresh pair of ears or whatever. That like sometimes I obsess over humor. I want to be a stand-up comedian. I obsess over comedy. I'm super overprotective about comedy and comedy being censored and doctored up to be funny for a certain group of people when most other people think some other way of doing the joke would be better. I am like almost autistically like obsessed with the Markov chains and different routes that jokes can take. Like, oh, it gets to this point and then it splits off to these two things. If you do this, it's less funny. If you do this, it's more funny. You go the more funny route, that splits off to two things, and you can either ruin it here or make it a little even more fun, like stuff like that. It's the same thing with making jokes come across in a cartoon. Like, you sit there and you go into like deep, like you spend a long time figuring out, like I said, with the "can I see your legs," your serious delay, like the delay between there, you really can get down to really like you'll sit there and think of stuff in your brain for the longest time of like, well, I had 3 milliseconds and it's this funny. But if I add 10 milliseconds, it's even funnier. But if I add 20 milliseconds, it starts being unfunny again. You start getting this like Robert Ludlum bell curve kind of like tinfoil hat conspiracy thing going. But it does make sense. Like, you'll obsess over it. There will be this sweet spot. It's like a power band when you're shifting in a car. Like, if you have a manual transmission, there's a certain point. I know this sounds silly. I'm sorry.
No, this is great.
But there's like when you're shifting a manual transmission in a car, there's this sweet spot where if it's this amount of time, you get the best shift. But if you're a little slow or a little fast, it starts falling off, like the bell curve. If you know how, like the concept of the bell curve. Same thing with comedy. Same thing with delivery in your cartoon. In I didn't mean for this to happen, Fox. Baloney. Well, if you don't believe me, blah blah blah. You get it across, but if you drag it out a little bit, let it breathe a little, it's like I did this and I didn't do this. Baloney. Like you wait a little too long, and it's like people start to notice like that was a little long for Fox McCloud to wait and say baloney, but if you get it just right, I didn't do this and I didn't kill your father. Baloney. And it's like, in a medium, there's like, if you're playing a race car game, I know this is really esoteric and weird, but if you're playing a race car game and you're selecting, select your transmission, please select your lap or whatever, and you're selecting the transmission and the gears and things, and it has this power band where there's like this little loop that goes up to the optimal spot and then it goes down again like a bell curve. This is for editors. This is all totally like a nerdy editing thing. And you've got the clip of Fox McCloud saying baloney,
which was also improv.
Yeah. Or you got, like in my cartoon, the thing of him saying, you're serious. Like you've muted all the video stuff. You're not looking at the video. You're listening to the audio. It's like, I waited till we were alone to say this. It's me being nice. Can I see your legs? And then like right at that point, you say, okay, obviously instantly he can't be like, you're serious unless you're making some like Adult Swim, like hyper quick ADHD thing that's supposed to be, just like bam, 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 rapid fire funny stuff. If you're making something that you want to be believable and human, you have to consider right after Wolf says, can I see your legs? There has to be a certain measurement of silence. Maybe Fox staring at him and twitching one of his ears for a little bit. But before he says, you're serious. Like however long that is, like it's one line. The difference between the delay between and you're serious doesn't matter as much. But the delay between Wolf ending his line and Fox finally vocalizing his reaction, if you sit there and get it just right, you can hone it in until you send it to 20 people and they're all like, that delay, that beat, or whatever the hell you want to call it, is perfect. And if you send it to everyone and they're like, this is a funny scene, but like out of 10 people, 8 of them tell you need to make it longer. The delay between legs and you're serious, make it longer. If you send it to 10 people and 8 of them tell you that you need to make it a little longer, make it a little longer. If you send it to 10 people and they all laugh at it and they think it's hilarious, but only one of them suggests, you should probably make the delay a little longer too. But the other 9 people who also equally laughed at it say nothing, you're probably in your sweet spot already.
Yeah.
I don't know, so this stuff sounds silly.
No, I edit all my stuff, so I get it.
This is the kind of obsessive, calculating shit that I think about when there's a scene where there's something really comically sensitive, and it's not even just comedy. Like Andros, when he's like, it's simple, really. Only I have the brain.
That actually did make me laugh.
It was originally just gonna be, it's simple, really. Only I have the brains to rule Lila. Woo! But I sat and thought, I was like, what if like this music, this like starts like slowly getting louder, and he says, it's simple, really. And then he blinks and slowly turns to the audience with this big grin, and there's a pause that gives the audience time, especially the audience who is seasoned Star Fox fans.
Yep, they know what's coming.
And because she's like, only you. You say, like, what is only you? Blah, blah, blah for only you. And he's like, well, it's simple, really. Anyone that's really well versed on that There's one guy who left a comment that said he almost punched his monitor because when he watched that and Andros said it's simple, really, he hunched over and he was like, he's going to say it. He's actually going to fucking say it. And then he said that right when he heard only I, like he punched the air so hard that he almost broke his, like he almost hit his monitor. He's like, he did the thing! You know. And we're going all the way to Corneria. Yeah, you know, like like.
It was almost instant setup and payoff.
but yeah, like back to what I was saying, like the delay between it's simple, really, and only I had the brains to rule Lilat. You know, obviously there's a really quick fall off. Where if you wait way too long, then instantly people are like, why is he pausing for so long? Why is he
drum roll, like the drum start.
Like yeah, then it's like, what the fuck? Like people will start leaving comments saying like, I felt that you waited a little too long, but then if you do it too early, where he's like, it's simple, really. Only I have the best. Then it may seem like more just like a casual interview and everything, where it's like, oh yeah, well, it's simple, really. Only I have the brains to blah 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 or whatever. But putting that small medium delay in there, where he's just like, it's simple, really. Only I like just that little bit that gives people time to go, oh, but not get to the point where like, oh, why is he still pausing? He hasn't said it yet. It's like it is really, you have to think of it in your mind like a bell curve. Like there's a long part of the beginning where it's like you wouldn't put it here. He'd be interrupting, you know, or being like, it's simple, really. Only I have the brains that like is one thing, and then you have too far where it's like, it's simple, really. Only I have. It's just like you'll get people to be like, I feel you waited a little too long. That's why when you have scenes like that where you can tell it's kind of sensitive. Joe, I didn't realize it was even a quote. Well, Joe, when you play Star Fox 64 and you go the hard route, because the games have an easy, medium, hard, or like other choices where you can zigzag back and forth. The final form of Andros, when you beat him, his fake head explodes, and there's a brain and eyeballs underneath in the true ending. When you're fighting we take like the true ending route, and he's a giant brain and two laser firing eyeballs, and he goes, only I have the brains to rule that. So Andros, you reveal your true form or whatever. But like, yeah, I wanted for a long time, hey, Invictus got my Howard Dean. Yeah. And then we're going to Macbeth, and then we're going all the way to Fortuna, and then we're going to go all the way to Corneria and take over from General Weber. You don't. I don't know if you remember that. It was a while ago.
Yep, I actually do. I'm old enough to remember.
All the way to Washington, take it, go all the way to the White House. Oh man, Andros was super cringe today. I don't think I'm gonna vote for him now. Oh my god.
Well, your hyper autism with all this timing stuff, I feel like it's paid off. But I actually think.
So.
I know you're really into comedy, but I think my two favorite scenes in episode 2 are they're actually what I would call like little gut punch scenes. Where
he's coming back, right?
yeah, that was the scene with Farah when she's not saying a word, just the look on her face. I'm just like
the 5 stages of coping.
And then my favorite scene in the second episode, it's for a brief second. It's when James gets the disc from his wife. Just for that brief second there when he looks at the disc, and I'm just like, just for a brief second there, it's like a little gut punch.
Breathing. Yeah. And the cool thing where she's like, Vixie Ray. Oh, whoops, I'm married now. Scribble, scribble.
Yep.
McLeod. Like a lot of people might not have gotten that. But like, what is the Ray thing? It's like because her maiden name is Vixie Reynard, and they're doing these discs after like they've only been married for like a year or two, so she's still, it's like toward the late into the year, I'll still be writing my checks with the wrong date or whatever. But she's so used to years and years of her life writing Vixie Reynard, Vixie Reynard, Vixie Reynard, and then they get married and they have Fox, and at this point it's like they're like 21, Fox is 3. I have the full timeline out for James McCloud's entire life from age 16 to forward. Would you like me to read some?
Man, I think you actually have topped my autism.
It's all right. but like this
People
is
have been asking me
out.
for my timeline, and I'm like, this happened sometime around here, that happened sometime around there. You're like, I got every year of James's life since he was 6 years old.
I round everything down to years. Like, I'll go through it quick. Age 16, he enters the military, officer school. Age 18, 17, whatever, still in school. Age 18, he gets married to Vixie. They have Fox. Age 19, he's flying asteroid cutters and fighter craft in a squadron under Colonel Pepper. Age 20, he's promoted to captain. And then at 21, all of the stuff that he and his wife did in back when they were like 16, 17, 18 in academy hits the news and whatnot, and they have a science expo where it's like, oh, these were the smartest teenagers in Lilat, blah, blah, blah. And when they're both 21, they go to the Cornerian Bioscience Expo. They meet Andros. And Andros is like, oh, it's finally nice to meet you two. I've read your theses on this, that, and other. And he's like, I'd like you to come work on a project with me, because he's good in the bioscience and stuff, but he wants to do this shit that is in places of science that he hasn't studied as obsessively and meticulously as Vixie and James are known for their papers and stuff. So they all start working on shit. And then age 22, he starts working with his wife and Andros on the Titania project. It's like portal stuff, opening, like the game Portal. You open a portal here and you open a portal there, a million light years away on weird planet, and we can walk through it. But it only stays open for, so many minutes, so you got to be quick and this, that, and other. And age 22, they start working on that. Age 23, full year of working and testing out portals goes fine. James is 24. They go through with a science team on a planet they discovered. All the science team gets overtaken by these weird purple electric bug things.
Gee, I wonder what those could be.
Yeah, weird purple electric things are chasing with their guns. They shoot at James and Vixie. James asks Vixie if she's all right. She's fine. And they run back to the ladder that's climbing up through the portal. James climbs through first. And he turns around to watch Vixie climbing up the ladder. She looks kind of tired. One of her arms gets lazy and just kind of like falls down. And he looks inside of her jacket, and she was shot. She just kept it from him. She's like, I can't. And she starts to fall. James reaches down with his left hand and grabs her arm. And he's screaming at Andros, like, pull the ladder up, pull the ladder up. She's, oh my God, and then the portal that he's already trying to keep open explodes. James flies back. His eyes and face are singed. He's missing his left hand. It's cauterized and bleeding a little bit, and no one else is there. That's the Titania accident. So
the guy who wants to be a comedian, everyone.
well, this is all, like, all of this is gonna be, like I said, spoiler warning. This is like the previously on a Fox in Space thing that's gonna come at the very beginning of the episode. I want to do the whole scene and everything, but I'm not going to be able to. It's going to be in the spirit of the other episodes. There's going to be like a minute and a half or so of little clips at the very beginning that are just all of the lore that you need to know. But anyways, that's what happens when James is 24. The explosion damages his eyes. He's nigh blind, and he's missing his left hand. And Pepper shows up, and he's like, holy fuck. So your wife is gone. I saw the videotape of some your science people losing their minds and acting crazy, and Andros is like, you saw what he's like, nope, that's interference with the video. Like Pepper just straight up like
Perfect.
just ostrich mode. He's just like, nope, not there, didn't see it, and tells
Nothing
him,
to
like,
see here.
exactly. And he's like, I'm covering this incident up on Titania, and you are just going to work for me now and never do anything like that again. And that's when Andros goes to Corneria again. Like, he's still working for Corneria. It's just what they're doing requires the planets and stars to be aligned a certain way for the thing to go through to the planet that they were checking out. And now the planets and things have moved, and he can't do that anymore.
There's your chance to slip in a dinosaur planet thing.
No, thank you.
The Majestic 8 alignment or whatever.
The only thing is, like, I'm one of the people that's like, Sonic the Hedgehog, what the fuck? You just saved all these little pigs and cows and chickens and turkeys and whatnot. And it's like,
I saved all you guys. Now I'm gonna go have a chili dog.
and they're just like, Sonic, is that a vegan chili dog?
Don't bother me. I'm reaping my rewards for rescuing you.
And he's just like, his eyes are rolling back, and he's eating this favorite food item of his that is from like 6 different animals' meats. and it's like, I would have made Sonic the Hedgehog's favorite food a watermelon or a cantaloupe or an apple, or
it's not
or,
extreme enough.
A fruit or a vegetable or quinoa or rice
Quinoa.
or something. Some kind of fruit, melon, vegetable, papaya, I don't know. Some kind of tropical thing, because all the levels in Sonic are tropical, but something other than a hot dog, not even a hot dog. This is like a little meat thing. No, we're going to put this wiener in here that's made out of eyelids and foreskins from pigs and turkeys, and also smother it in chili, which is just like beef or anything else, like smothering pieces of a dead animal in pieces of another dead animal after rescuing all of my animal friends from being roboticized.
We'll just pretend those chili dogs are made from humans.
There you go. but they never at any point whatsoever said that they were veggie or vegan chili dogs. And like, even as a kid, I was like, what? But what, like, because I've seen Sonic games where you rescue little piglets and cows, like you like the noise when you jump on top of a robot and inside of it a little smoke puff and a little animal blasts out vertically, and then when they land and hit the ground, they bounce away like a rabbit.
I'm just trying to remember how we got onto the topic of Sonic eating the flesh of 6 dead animals. I'm trying to... That was a crazy tangent.
No. I mean, the reason we got on that is like, what do you consider like canon in the Star Fox universe?
Yeah. Dinosaur Planet's its own
birds?
thing, yeah.
Are there 4-legged? It's like Moo Mesa. You ever heard of the Wild West Cowboys of Moo Mesa? They have... It's just one of those cartoons. It's anthropomorphic cow guys as cowboys. They're all bulls and they're cowboys, but they ride 4-legged horses. There's no horse people. It's only cow people. And they explained it, like I looked it up on the wiki and they explained it. But it's just like with the Sonic chili dog thing. Or like my biggest gripe with the Star Fox universe. Why is the Star Fox logo a 4-legged fox?
A 4-legged fox with wings. Yeah.
We have not seen any characters with wings other than maybe Falco's feather fingers, which are fucking weird. But I get it for a cute, like, oh, he's a bird character. He's got big flappy wing arms or whatever. I get it. It looks cute. It's adorable or sexy or whatever you want to call it. That's fine. But my cartoon is like, okay, if this was practical, I guess that's a good word to describe my cartoon. It's not necessarily good or bad, but like the style I do things is practical. It's like, all right, they're humans, they got hands, like, yeah, I'm Falco, I got feathers on my head and my tail or whatever, my fan, but I got fingers, I got, my fingernails might look like claws or talons a tiny bit, but the human fingers, whatever the fuck a human is. We talked about this for years. Whatever a year is, what the fuck is a year?
What's 12 months?
What the fuck is a month?
I don't know. It's like you think about stuff like it's like other oh, it's been in the month of April on a Tuesday when I was going to my Lutheran church.
It's like, whoa, wait,
I was just saying the other day, I was having a talk about, the days of the week at Star Fox, and I'm like, I guess the Norse gods just exist in the Star Fox universe.
Yeah, like, I do let a tiny bit of that through. Like, if you look at Carlo Lombardi, Falco's dad,
Yep.
he's got a crucifix on.
Yep.
That was just more, it just seemed like, mafia-style dad lets his chest hair stick out of his shirt a little bit with a crucifix. And, like, I wanted to throw a joke in there about Catholicism a little bit. Because, like, Falco's like, no, I swear to God. And, like, both of his parents are like, wow! You watch it, because like anybody that grew up with like friends who were Catholic, like, no, Mom, I swear to God, and they're just like, whoa, you don't do that. No son of mine is gonna swear to God in this house. I've had so many people reach out to me. It's like, hey, Fred, I'm a guy from New York. My mom's Jewish and my dad's Italian, and like the Falco scene is literally my life when I was 9. Thank you for doing that. I feel represented.
That probably is the
It made me
funniest
feel
scene
good.
in episode 2. I remember when I saw that preview years ago, I just died. It was so funny.
Awesome.
But I do like it when those little weird things that don't quite fit, like, kind of crop up in Star Fox. I mean, the go-to example is Hey Einstein.
Yeah, perfect example. It's like, oh,
It's like,
maybe
wait, what?
Einstein
It's like you
was
hear that line, you're like,
a poodle
wait,
guy.
what?
His
How would you
name
know
was
about Einstein?
Poodle Einstein. And it's like this poodle that's like, oh, well, technically, it's, but yeah, like it's like little things that you can let slide. It's like, okay, whatever. Like, geez, Louise. Oh, is Louise a name? They don't name their kids Cat Dog and Binturong and my name's Coyote Jones. Oh, let me guess, you're a lizard.
Oh my goodness.
But yeah, stuff like that. I don't remember what the original thing we were hitting on.
Yeah,
but,
it was an
like,
interesting tangent.
But no, it's just stuff like there's certain things that don't line up. Like what do they eat? Like meat eating and stuff. In my cartoon, protein is from seafood or from chickpeas or something. They don't have they don't have cows like cattle. Like, oh, well, everyone in my universe is an animal person, except for cow people. They're all 4-legged cows that just go, and they get slaughtered and turned into hamburgers for all the other animal people. Like, it's just weird.
Yeah,
It doesn't
in
fit
my
right.
in my thing,
I
I briefly have Farrah mention that they eat bugs.
Yeah, no, like, but you have to think about it. Like, even Zootopia, the people in charge of working on Zootopia got to ask this. Like, where did the Zootopians get their protein? And they said from bugs and fish and plant protein.
Then you got,
And
I guess
it's like, well,
that kind of changes the perspective of the anglers in Star Fox
Yeah.
universe.
Oh man, I had an idea for the anglers.
Oh my God, you do? I had a feeling you were not even going to bother with them. Wow.
Not recently, but like back in the day, I don't know if any of these pictures still exist. Like, this was 2010, 2011. I had a scene where Wolf comes up behind Fox and covers his mouth and pulls him to the ground and puts a gun to his head. And they're like laying down together on the floor. It's like a Jurassic Park thing where like the guy comes up and you're like, oh, he's gonna kill him, but he pulls him back. He's like, shh, don't make a sound. Shut up, shut up. And they're like, and they both look over and there's like a velociraptor like slowly walking down the hall or something. It was gonna be like that, but it was wolf grabbing fox and pulling him to the ground. And he's like, "Don't make a sound. Look, there it is." And they both like lay there on the ground together, like frozen, watching this angler fish mutant thing. I even gave him the little hangy ball thing in front of his eyes with a little white light thing on the end of it. I wish I could still find it. I know someone out there still has it, but
Yeah, I know
was...
Command gets a bad rap, and I understand why, but for some bizarre, weird reason, I really like the Anglars, and I don't know why. Something about just
I thought they were neat.
monster fish people. I'm like, that's a cool thing to have in Star Fox.
In a concept, it's like, oh, we've lived this way for about 1,000 years now, but whoa, where did these people go? Like actually having a planet that has like underwater, starbound style, like underwater living fish people places, and they're like, we've made the technology we need to take over the surface. Let's go. And I mean, I know it's like, oh, this toxic fish people that Andros mutated or whatever, but like actually having like messing it up a little bit, making them have an actual background, or like where they came from somewhere originally and like evolved for thousands of years, and we just didn't know because there's a air pocket under the ocean like 10 miles wide, and they just happened to grow up there, and now they can,
Yeah, I have
Yes,
a whole...
I am referencing the game Starbound. That's one of my favorite 2D games of all time, other than Darkwood. Everyone should play Darkwood. It's the best survival horror game ever made.
Yeah, if we're going in, if we, you talked about your autism with the timing of everything. I have like this huge, detailed autistic background on the Anglars and all the weird different
That's cool.
groups and
I would love to hear you
civilizations
say
in
it
the Star
someday.
Fox universe. Like, kind of my approach to the Star Fox universe is the galaxy is just full of just all of these warlords that are just constantly fighting each other, which is, why mercenaries are...
That's what it would be, just a bunch of space chads trying to assert dominance.
Yeah, there's not like
even saying that
there's not like the
ironically, like-
Federation in Star Trek or anything. There's no like big, there's not like these big galaxy spanning civilizations. It's more like, like when Africa kind of fell apart. It's just all these little warlords. They all have their own star systems, and they're all constantly fighting each other. And mercenaries kind of thrive in that environment. I'm not sure how we got on that topic either, but yeah, that's kind of my approach.
General Scales in episode 3, when and if I add him in, he's gonna sound like Underbite from the Venture Brothers. You ever seen that show?
That'll be interesting.
I've never seen him before. Realizing like this really like deep voice German accent guy. I want General Scales to be German as fuck, but like super deep Underbite. Have you ever seen Venture Brothers?
Yeah. I haven't seen it in a while. But...
Baron von Underbite,
Yep.
the big guy with the metal jaw thing that's like, I will take them for all. Like, I want General Scales to sound like that. I don't want the Ukum Dukum Doc Dukum Ko Korzoa Palace. Like, I never was a fan of that. It's like, this is just cryptic quotes. This is
it's a cipher.
It's just the cryptic quotes from the newspaper every Sunday. Like,
yeah, you might.
What it felt like to me.
You might actually appreciate the original Dinosaur Planet ROM then, because you might appreciate the original Dinosaur Planet more then, because none of that Saurian language is in it.
Falcon Lombardi in chat knows what I'm hitting at there. Thank you. What's Darkwood about? I don't want to spoil it, but it's in the 80s. Something crashed to Earth and surrounded itself with mutating trees that grow so thick no one can get in or out. So there's this zone, and people try to, dig into it and get inside the zone and find out what's going on inside the Darkwood. That's already
like
too much. Yeah, it's a bit like Stalker. And there's villages and people and everything in there, and you have no idea who you are. Are you one of those people? Are you like a villager? Are you working for the bad thing, you don't know. You don't know where you come from, but you're inside that. Like, the stuff that I'm talking about is established in the tutorial for the game. This is not like ruining the game. You get in, you're inside of the Darkwood. It's in Poland, somewhere in Poland in like 1987.
Oh, it's definitely inspired by Stalker then.
It's so
the
good.
old school Stalker.
What are you talking about, like Shadow of Chernobyl?
No, the movie that killed its director.
Oh, Tarkovsky's the 1979 movie.
Yeah, the one he poisoned himself to death over.
There are a couple of people that got radiation poisoning from filming that movie.
Yeah, they went wading in irradiated lakes, and yeah, he got sick from that, and it most likely is what killed him.
Did you ever see Solaris?
No, you mean the original one or the remake?
Well, obviously, I mean the original.
I haven't seen the original one yet, but I've been wanting to. Yeah.
There's a new one with George Clooney or
there's a remake.
I'm not saying it's bad, but like definitely you should definitely see those, especially a movie where someone was like so intent on making the movie that they went somewhere like that and risked that stuff and then ultimately died. Like the movie Stalker. Like I've always been obsessed. Like, I didn't know about it. My first discovery of any of it was the 2007 video game Stalker: Shadow of Chernobyl. And it was a very lonely point in my life, and I dealt with being super lonely and being alone by just losing myself in the realm of that game on my little, like, cheesy computer that was like, 700 megahertz or what the fuck ever. It was a very, very important game in my life, and I became like a I don't know, super fan of the Shadow of Chernobyl kind of like environment and the fan base and everything. I don't know like all of the lore, but like it became a very, very big part of my life at that point in time, and anything that's come out since then, I've loved it. And I found out like 2 or 3 years later, like, this is based off of a book called Roadside Picnic. And there was also a Russian director that made a movie based off of this called Stalker, with like anomalies that you have to like throw a bolt with a ribbon on it and to make sure the traps don't get you. I was like, holy fuck, that's like in the game. Yep. And then I saw the movie, I was like, this is nothing like the game, but it's still amazing. It did. Like, there are moments in that movie where I cried, where I was experiencing like genuine human emotion, but in another language. Like, I always like watch that with subtitles, obviously, but I'm getting to where, like, when I go and watch it now, because I've been learning Russian for almost 4 years, like I watch it now and can tell like what words they're saying and stuff, and there's a bigger chance of it making my eyes get sweaty. It's a very, very, like, if you haven't really watched it and analyzed the movie, it's extremely slow. It's very indie, it's very slow, like whatever you want to call it. It's a very slow movie, but Aber Koenig, thank you. How you doing, buddy?
I mean, if we're talking about slow movies, my favorite Star Trek movie is the motion picture. I like slow burning movies.
The 79 movie?
Yep. Everyone hates it, but I like it.
Best theme song.
Yep, that's why they used it for 30 years after. Actually, I take that back. It's my second favorite Star Trek movie.
What's your Wrath of Khan?
Nope. Undiscovered Country.
Undiscovered. What was that, the fourth one?
That's the sixth one.
Sixth one. I know that was way later, but
in fact, when we're right before we started the stream, I was probably like Christopher Plummer in that movie, meeting William Shatner. I'm like, I've so wanted to meet you.
Dude, I mean, we've been talking for like a year now on Discord.
Yeah, this is like the first like real, I think, like conversation we've had though, which is pretty great.
But for sure though, anytime you want to hang out and do one of these, even if it's just like chatting or whatever, we don't have to be on YouTube broadcasting live. But even if you did, like, I don't care. This is awesome. I've had a great time. I was sitting here like, oh my god, like, what are we gonna what are we gonna talk about? And it's like the important thing is when that issue comes up is to not give a fuck about it.
That's kind of my approach to all of these. Like,
What do you
whenever
think
I do a
about it?
stream, I'm just like, it's just whatever happens.
Yeah. Never look at the view count. Only look at the questions that people are asking. Don't be like, oh, we were at 130 viewers half an hour ago. Now we're at 115. Oh no, what did we do to lose those 15 viewers? What do we got to do to get them back? Like that, you start doing that shit, then you become like a paparazzi or a drama channel or some shit. It's like we gotta do something to churn up subscribers. Like I've had between 50 and 100 streamers on my Twitch stream for like 7 years. It's been between that. Obviously it's 50, 60 higher now after episode 2 has been released, but I've never once in that entire time worried about how many people were here. I know that like if it gets slow paced and we're just talking about life experiences or whatever, then there's going to be a little bit less. And if we start talking about like, oh, did you hear about YouTuber that got busted for blah, 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 blah. Oh, and he thinks that blah, 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 and so-and-so's red-pilled and black-pilled and blue-pilled and burp-a-derp-a-der. And what I think you guys need to do, and you start like talking like that and your views start like popping up and people start like throwing emojis in your chat. Like, yeah, there's certain things you can do to like really quickly drum up a bunch of viewers, especially anything about, like stupid bullshit drama or politics or whatever. But if you just keep it clean and keep it normal and keep it, based on just what you're comfortable talking about, even if you don't get like 300 viewers or whatever, and it just sticks around like 50 or 60 or 119 or whatever. The important thing is, like, if you have a chat room of people that are asking you questions and are genuinely interested or genuinely curious regarding stuff that you're talking about, hang on to that. Don't be like, oh, we're not getting enough viewers. We gotta drum up some drama or talk about current events. Where like seriously, yeah, keep it based. Keep it based. Keep it based on what you're talking about. Like if we sit here and talk about Star Fox stuff all day, and it's like, well, when we were talking about Marvel movies and woke versus blah 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 blah, we were getting 400 viewers. And everybody was going crazy in chat. But then if we just talk about Star Fox and what we know about, there's only 110 viewers. Well, that 110 viewers are going to be the more tight, loyal, devoted community that you have. Anybody that just pops in and increases your numbers because you're talking about drama and stuff, they're going to want you to go that route. And the second that you lean back toward what you're wanting to talk about, they're going to be gone. They're going to be gone. You don't go like when you're making a cartoon or an animated series or a movie or a video series or anything like that. Try not to focus on what gets you the most views. Focus on what gets you the tightest, closely stitched community that will support you long term.
I mean, I've definitely learned that over the last 10 years with my friggin' Zelda game.
I hope so.
Hyrule. Yeah, the Zelda fandom doesn't like me that much.
Fuck them.
Yeah, it's kind of the conclusion I came to. This is the Zelda thing I want to make. You
started making something for a fandom that you appreciate, and a certain part of that fandom follows you around and tells you that you're garbage every day. Oh no! Like now you know. It's like,
And
I would never
I've
wish
been
that upon you, of course, but you know what I'm talking about when I'm like, well, fuck, I love Star Fox. I hope people realize that it's like my favorite thing in the world, but there's a certain part of that fandom that doesn't like me. Why? What did I do? Like, yeah. So if you feel that way with Zelda, that's how I feel sometimes with like the Crystal people on.
No,
on
I
Star
completely
Fox.
understand.
Even
I
though love
remember
it, they're like.
I remember months ago when you were telling me about that. I'm like, that is literally exactly what
Yeah.
I dealt with
Yeah,
Zelda
like when I
fans.
was gonna voice Wolf O'Donnell in your cartoon, and people were literally I don't want to like out you or anything, but like people were literally threatening you not to support you if
Yeah,
I was
there's
gonna
quite a
voice
few
Wolf.
people like within the span of 24 hours that are like, oh, he hates Crystal. Why are you having him? I'm like, because his cartoon's cool. I like his voice.
Don't. And seriously, and then the original Wolf voice actor reached out to you. And yeah, excuse me, I'm Disney drunk. I got the hiccups. But seriously, like, and then you reached out to me. I really respect that. You're like, I know I've got you voicing Wolf, original voice act. You don't mind me talking about this on your stream?
You
do
can if you want. I don't mind.
Yeah. No, like seriously, like I'm genuinely going to tell you how I feel. I was going to voice Wolf. I already voiced Andros. I assume you're keeping me on as
Yes,
Andros.
please.
And you messaged me saying like, I know that I wanted you to voice Wolf. You haven't done any lines yet or anything, but the original voice actor for Wolf is apparently interested in my project, and he wants to. And you remember my instant response. I didn't sit there like, well, I really wanted the voice you said that I was gonna do. No, immediately. Fuck me if I'm like mark me if I'm wrong here. Seriously, immediately I said, go with the star power. If he wants to do it, do it. Absolutely. If you can get more star power on this thing, go for it. Like, I'm here. I'm already voicing Andros. Even if original Andros voice actor, Lord rest him, was still
He rose from
around
the dead.
and wanted to, I'd tell you the same thing. I'd be like, dude, it was fun voicing this stuff for your cartoon. If I can help any other way or with any extra voices, that's fine. But even if I've recorded this stuff for you and spent 10 hours or whatever doing these voices, honestly, dude, if you can fucking get the original voice actors and they don't get in trouble for it, fucking go for it. That's going to get you a lot more like passing around of, word of mouth type stuff than like, oh, the guy who made this fan cartoon is voicing the. Like, you're going to get way more advertisement and shit getting the original voice actors. And I'm not going to sit here and be like, no, he said I was going to voice him. Why did he said me, and then this guy comes around and I can't do it anymore. Yeah, it's like, no, I don't work like that, homie.
I
don't work
appreciate
like
it
that.
a lot. However, if we are talking
Absolutely.
about things
I
getting passed
understand.
around,
I understand that might have made you feel like, oh, I don't want to like hurt his feelings or whatever. Please understand, 110%. Being honest here, I am overjoyed that you got the original Wolf O'Donnell voice actor. Even if you also got the Andros voice actor, and like, well, I would have straight up told you. I would have forced you into it. I would have like bullied you, been like, no, I will go on my channel and denounce my involvement with your project. If you don't get the original Andros guy, you deserve it. If he's messaging you, absolutely, I'm gonna like brute force you into it. Like, if it, like seriously, because that's awesome. If you can make something that gets the Nintendo voice actors involved in it, even if I'm just as a placeholder, and you're like, well, I know I said I wanted you to voice it, but like these are the like 100%, dude, go with them. Just having worked with you has been an honor, and it's been super cool.
I appreciate that so much. That's
glad.
awesome. But I definitely have to have you voice acting because you're a great voice actor.
That's fine. Like I say, if you want me to voice Andros and you want me to redo anything, if there's anything that doesn't quite sound right that I did and you want me to redo a line, let me know.
No, I'm having you do Andros.
Day.
I mean, I approached you first for Andros before
That's
even
what I'm
Wolf.
saying. Like
your Andros is perfect.
if you need any more lines like injury, death, scenes, or anything that just doesn't quite feel 100% to you, let me know. I will gladly redo the lines.
Awesome.
Like I said, I do them right now. I like anytime. Like it's
I might wait till you're a little bit
only
more
character-
sober, but
I'm not super smashed, but I have to take like 3 or 4 shots of whiskey anytime I gotta get on any kind of podcast or anything. I have severe social anxiety, and the real truth of it is, you never get over the social anxiety. It's just as you get older, you get better at hiding it.
yeah, no, I can relate to that. I'm not a social person at all.
Yeah, for the first 20 minutes. For the first 20 minutes, I'm like, oh my god, I'm like, this guy made this thing, or like, oh man, this is lackadaisy people, they made this cartoon, and blah blah blah. But after, like having 3 or 4 shots of whiskey and getting a little loose and just talking, like goofing off like we are, being funny for an hour or whatever, after that, the social anxiety is completely gone. But that first 20 minutes of anything that I get on, I'm wanting to jump out of a fucking window just because I'm so shy.
I'm sorry for the first 20 minutes of the stream.
No. Like, honestly, every minute of this has been pretty rad.
That's
Like,
awesome.
We got right off the bat bitching about shitty Star Wars regurgitation.
I don't know why, but I was actually
Matrix and
surprised
whatnot.
that you were into TNG. I'm not sure why, but that's awesome.
When I was 8, 9, 10 years old, my mother was in nursing school, and most of the day for like over a year or so, I was sat by my grandmother. Me and my sister would be, my grandma, Granny. Granny would watch us, and every night before my mom got home, it was like 9:30 p.m. or whatever, that's what was on. My grandma would watch Star Trek: The Next Generation. She would leave it on. And it was right about when I was going to sleep. So now, even to this day, when I watch The Next Generation,
Yep, same
here.
here.
90%, it has nothing to do with the story. It's just the
Yep, I almost always
in the
put it on right
background.
before I go to sleep.
It's asthma. I get an asthma attack. It is. It's like an ASMR, like Star Trek: The Next Generation, Enterprise ambience, 10 hours or whatever. But I would always watch it. I loved the stories. But I was a little like 8, 9-year-old me laying on a couch next to my grandma in her recliner watching The Next Generation, and I would just kind of like fall asleep to it. So it was this thing of like watching these cool stories while you fall asleep, like the Dark Souls lore to fall asleep to, Volume 9 or whatever, from the Ashen Realm.
Yeah,
Like that was my life when I was a little kid. So now when I watch it when I'm an adult, I was like, this show is so cool. I remember this.
Just fall asleep halfway
I
through.
remember this when I was little. And my friend's like, you really think it's boring? I was like, dude, you won't understand. I love,
You had to be
love
there.
the show, but yeah, like it makes me fall asleep just because it's a comfort thing. It's like comfort food, but a movie.
It really is
Or
a comfortable
series.
show in general, even compared to all
is.
the other Star Treks. But when TNG was on the air, I was a little bit young and I had a bedtime, so my father would always record them on VHS, and then we'd watch them on the weekend. So it was, some of my first memories ever. They were, TNG episodes on VHS recorded in the background, and my father would get me the little Star Trek toys and toys from other sci-fi shit, and those are some of my earliest memories. And then
Yeah.
when DS9 and Voyager came on the air, I was old enough to stay up late to watch those.
Yeah. And Ninja Turtle action figures. Good God. Sorry, that like that time in my life when, right before Babylon 5.
Oh my god, yes! Fuck!
Yeah.
I was like, is he familiar with Babylon 5?
AKA
Fuck yes!
Totally not Deep Space Nine. Oh yeah, dude, we can nerd it out.
Oh
one
my
day.
god, fuck
we should-
yes.
we should,
Okay,
like,
if
do
you've seen Babylon 5, then you understand everything I'm trying to do.
Yeah, like I haven't seen the whole show. I've seen like 10 or 15 episodes of it when I was younger. But I like Babylon 5. It's a cool show. And yeah, I feel like Deep Space Nine was trying a little too hard.
Well, do you know the rumored story behind the guy who made Babylon 5? He pitched it to Paramount in 1989, I think. Mm-hmm. So he's never confirmed it, but there's a lot of rumors that it was something Paramount held on to and they dug it up for Star Trek, and he just happened to be making Babylon 5 at the same time. So
it makes sense. It makes sense. Like when you look back then, that's why I'm so in love with the idea of people doing a crowdfund thing. So it's not like, oh, I had to pass this around and they finally agreed to it as long as I changed this stuff or that stuff. I want things to be unadulterated.
Yep. Babylon 5 is definitely that.
Absolutely.
Oh, I see someone in the chat mentioning Battlestar Galactica. Which one? The original or the reboot?
Edward James Olmos. Galactica. God, I rewatched that show like 4 times.
I love both of the original and the reboot.
Yeah, I haven't seen like the 70s, 80s one or whatever. Like I haven't seen.
I'm actually a little surprised.
Yeah, no, I know what the Cylons and everything look like in it and everything, but I've actually never seen it.
Wow.
But it's just I saw the new one. I was like, this is amazing. I don't ever need to see any other TV show ever.
The new one's fantastic.
Caprica,
the pilot episode's one of the best pilot episodes I've ever seen for a new show.
That's why I like when I saw what's her name, Katie Sackhoff, come back as Bo-Katan.
Oh yeah, Starbuck.
Yeah, like I was like, when I watched Mandalorian, I was like, Greg, that's Starbuck. That's not Bo-Katan. That's Starbuck. Yeah, I nerded out. I was like, oh my god. Yeah, like, and that's fine. However you feel about the Mandalorian, if Katie Sackhoff takes over as the main Mandalorian in that show,
it's
everyone
Starbuck.
can be like, no, it's bait and switch, woke garbage. Blah, blah, blah. It's like, I don't care. Like Katie Sackhoff, like she gets a main character in a show, go for it. Do it. Run wild, Katie. Like, I loved you as Starbuck. Hell yeah, dude. Yeah, I'm an enormous nerd. You may not have.
I did not notice.
Like when it comes to like 80s, 90s, and early 2000s sci-fi stuff, that's my shit.
Same
Absolutely.
Here.
I will nerd out over that stuff.
I mean, you
seen it in Galactica when there's like the gas leak and they're in there doing target practice and they're like, and they're laying there like, we're gonna suffocate. This is bad. It's a gas hole. Let me help me aim the gun. And they're just like fucked up, but at the same time as being fucked up, knowing that if they don't shoot the thing to stop it from spitting gas out, they're gonna die. And they're trying to aim at it. He's trying to help him aim at the same time as he's like laughing and fucked up. That was that messed with me so much.
Yeah, also I like how they got how come I'm forgetting her name? The actress that plays Ro in Star Trek. She was awesome in Battlestar Galactica too.
Ro Lauren?
Yeah, she played Admiral Kane in Battlestar Galactica. I know I'm drawing a blank on her name. I can't remember her
magazine, name. like Rich People magazine.
You know, I'll just look it up.
What's the name? Ro, like is it R-O?
Yeah, Ro Lauren. Michelle Forbes, that was it, yeah.
Forbes. Yeah, Forbes.
That was
the
it.
Rich People magazine. I knew. Like, I'm thinking, you get what I meant. I was like, it's Rich People magazine. I was thinking like, oh, cigar aficionado. Like, no, Rich People magazine. I couldn't fucking remember. Yeah, I was going to have a cover story on Forbes.
She was great in I mean, everyone was great in BSG. That was a really good cast. But
oh my god.
Someone's mentioning the game Deadlock in the comments. Yes, Deadlock is fantastic. It's an awesome game.
I don't think I know that one.
It's a Battlestar Galactica game that came out a few years ago. It's kind of turn-based, kind of real-time, and you command like a fleet of like 5 or 6 of the Battlestars. You can also play as the Cylons too, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I'll point out that I gave the Battlestar Galactica style flat cannons to the Great Fox in my game. So there's my little there's my little my little theft from BSG.
No, that's totally fine, because a lot of the references about cruising and doing a wake scan. Have you ever played the game Elite Dangerous?
I am familiar with it, but I haven't played it. I know my friend who was in the chat loves that game, and he's been trying to get me to play it.
My friend who voices Rob64 in the cartoon, she works on Elite Dangerous, and did, like, I don't know who's working on it right now, but like for years and years I played that game, and it's fucking amazing. The stuff about like the cruise drive and all that stuff is absolutely amazing. And I took a lot of that for episode 1 and episode 2, like charging the cruise, because the way I look at it makes sense from the Elite Dangerous game. It's like, okay, you're floating in space, you're putting around with your thrusters at like 10 miles an hour or whatever, doing whatever. Like, what do I want to do if I just want to go to another planet or get closer to a planet in this system? You know what I mean? Like, not jump to another system, but just a planet, something in this system. You would go into cruise, where it's like, 1 to 50 or 60 times the speed of light, where I'm at Earth, I want to get over to Jupiter in like 2 minutes. You know what I mean? It's like, that's cruise.
So 1.7 the speed of light to get there in 2 minutes, I think.
Is it? No, that's
I don't
awesome.
know. I'm bad at math.
Like, I've looked, obviously it depends on the time of year and whatnot. That was one of the things, like when Beltino is like, it's going to take you guys four hours to get to Venom this time of year because of the rotation of whatever. And I know some theoretical physicists or planetary physicists or whatever are going to be like, oh, well, where exactly was it on the axis of the star of Lilat and all that? Like, I don't know. I didn't think that hard. Don't persecute me, please. I'm just trying to make it interesting, But things like that, like cruise. I was just like, it's called a cruise in Elite Dangerous. I like that. I want to go with it. And there's plenty of cartoons and TV shows and things that are like, oh, well, we just based it off Dungeons and Dragons roll for initiative system, blah blah blah. Like, for me, the space travel and whatnot in my Star Fox universe, based on my dear friend who worked on Elite Dangerous and whatnot, I love that. Where it's like, you have a different thing in your jump drive to make you go from, putting around physically with a thruster to cruise, which is like, 100th of the speed of light all the way up to 20 times the speed of light or something. But then if it's like, we need to blast to this other system that's like 30 light years away or whatever, that's a different thing. That's like a jump drive or whatever. So in my thing, it's called cruise or jump. Cruising is in the system, and if you need to go to a different system, you jump to a different system, and then once you get there, all the planets and things in that system, you just do cruise. If it takes you 2 hours to get there, that's fine. It's 2 hours to get from the sun to like an outer orbit planet or something. That's fine. That stays in cruise. But that's like the direct reference from Elite Dangerous in my cartoon. Because I like that stuff.
Yeah, well, I stole the flat cannon, so...
A flat cannon?
The flat cannon.
From what? What did you steal it from?
BSG.
Oh, right. I think that's like I know the flat cannon from Unreal. The first Unreal game, like one of it's the shotgun weapon you get. The thing when you click, it shoots a bunch of projectiles out in a cone. I think it was the flat cannon.
Well, the best Unreal game will always be Star Trek Elite Force. I don't know if you ever played that one.
I never played it. That was like late 90s, early 2000s.
I think it was either 2000 or 2001. It was basically just Unreal, but with Star Trek shit thrown
Raven
in
Software.
it. Yep.
God, so many games from Ravens, like Soldier of Fortune.
Yep.
Holy shit. The game where he was like, the most violent video game ever made. You can shoot someone's face off 5 times until their nose bone is sticking out or whatever. Like, God, yeah. I remember those games.
Yeah, they made a really trippy game that I haven't played in a long time, but what was it called? It was some bounty hunter game. Was it Mace Griffin, I think it was called?
Mace Griffin.
Yeah, Raven made that game. That was an interesting
Mace Griffin
game.
Bounty Hunter. That was Xbox One.
Was that Xbox One? Or do you mean the
Yes.
original Xbox One?
No, I mean...
The
yeah,
real
I'm sorry.
Xbox One.
I haven't had anything past 360.
Me neither.
So I'm saying that like I mean PS1, but yeah, like not. I mean like like fat Xbox, huge Xbox.
Yeah, the
Back
King
when
Xbox.
people were like, "This is Xbox huge," because the Xbox was so big. That one, yeah, the original Xbox. Yep, Mace Griffin, Bounty Hunter. From Warthog Games.
Yeah, Warthog made a few weird Star Trek games too.
I remember that.
Are they even still around? I wouldn't be surprised if Raven's gone. Let's find out. So many of the companies I like are just gone now. Oh, wow, Raven Software is actually still around. That's awesome. What the hell have they done recently?
Is it the same people though?
Probably
think
not.
about, Blizzard.
Oh
Like,
god.
oh, Diablos! Like,
No.
I've
god.
I don't want to get political or biased or anything, but I am not at all excited for the new.
No,
at all.
I actually, this was 10, 11, 12 years ago. I had an in at Blizzard and I tried to get a job there and
No kidding.
I got rejected a few times. I have all the rejection letters still, and now in hindsight, I'm kind of glad I didn't get hired there.
Yeah, Diablo 1, I played that online. My buddy's like, dude, get in, let me show you something cool. And I get in Diablo and he kills me and cuts my ear off. That's what you did. Like, if you killed someone in PvP, you got to keep their ear. It was like, ear of player monkey butt finger 69 or whatever. And yeah, my buddy Adam, he's like, dude, get in here, let's play. Like, we're gonna kick ass. I'm like, awesome. And then he instantly kills me in one hit with like a sword that he got from Wart or whatever. And I was like, what did you? He's like, no, that's cool. And then like I revived and he gave me my ear. He's like, here. It's like, I got this off of you. I was like, why did you do that? He's like, God, it was like a hazing. Anytime you get online and play multiplayer with other people on Diablo 1, they would always kill you, cut your ear off, and be like, here.
Sounds about right.
Let's go level up. God, that was on PS1 too.
Yeah, I had the PS1 version also.
Oh god.
Yeah, I had the PS1 version of Diablo, not the PC version. But
yeah, that's great.
For me with Blizzard, it was Warcraft 2 and StarCraft that I really liked, and I liked Warcraft 3 a lot. And then to me, they went off the rails. Like World of Warcraft, to me, that was the end.
Yeah.
Like I'm not really into MMOs, and
I played WoW. I played it for most of a year. It was like 08, 09 ish, somewhere around there. And it's like I played, Frozen Throne or whatever the other ones were.
Yeah,
I forget what it was, but we
That's
got
Frozen
up to
Throne.
I got up to Wrath of the Lich King, where you can, if you have a character that's over level 55, you can make a Death Knight starting at level 55. And I think that was Wrath of the Lich King.
Yeah, that was Wrath. Yeah, that was Wrath of the Lich King. Sorry, Frozen Throne was for Warcraft 3, not WoW.
Yeah, not
be
Frozen
a
Throne. I can't
nerd
remember
there.
the names of them, but there were two mods or like DLCs for World of Warcraft, and then they had Wrath of the Lich King.
Yeah, I can't remember the second one. Something, I think it's Burning Crusade or something. I couldn't really get into WoW.
Burning Crusade, that was definitely one.
I don't want to shit on WoW as a game, but like it's massive success basically. That we're never gonna get Warcraft 4 probably because of that.
No, but yeah, it was World of Warcraft, then Burning Crusade, and then 2008 was Wrath of the Lich King. I remember the Panda one.
Missa Pandaria, I think.
Yeah, that's exactly what Mists of
the furry one.
Yeah, the one that added, but then they added like wolf people and fox people and blah blah blah. And...
we gotta have our Star Fox demographic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I Blizzard's just they're not the same anymore. I mean, they were bought by Activision. Half the people left. It was the same thing with Rare when Microsoft bought them. And, I have all the stories about Rare from Mistel after Microsoft bought them. And it's like the most stereotypical story of these weird creative people that were doing all this cool stuff. A corporation comes in and then just kills it all in like 6 months.
Sounds about right.
Like... it was one of those situations where, like, they were all happy at first. They're like, oh, cool, we have all Microsoft's resources. We can do so much more. And then in 6 months, they're like, you need to release this Grabbed by the Ghoulies game. It's not incomplete. We need, like, 2 more years to bug test it. Nope, you're releasing it. And there's, like, people there crying. Like, the game is not done, and it's gonna sell terrible. And that's what happens. Exactly what happened with Grabbed by the Ghoulies. That game was literally released incomplete, with the people at Rare crying that it was going to bomb, and it did, and just...
yeah, it's
happened to Westwood
at its finest.
Happened to Westwood when EA got that. So many awesome companies. They were just gobbled up and then destroyed.
Yeah. I gotta hop off of here and go cook dinner.
All right, it was nice talking to you.
I don't mean to,
wow, we almost went on for like 2.5 hours. Jeez.
2.5 hours, good. No, I am always willing to do one of these with you. This is a fun time, and I enjoyed this very much. I hope I'm not hopping off too early.
No, that was even longer than the streams I do with other people in Estelle.
No, that's good. That's good. Dude, this is all I do. I mean, I'm sure you've been to a couple of my streams.
Yes, I lurk there.
Hang out and bullshit about stuff.
I lurk there.
Feel free to come around anytime, and anytime you want to do another one of these on YouTube, I will be glad to do one with you. This has been super fun.
Yeah, this was awesome.
I would like Estelle to come hang out.
I was gonna say we definitely need to do we definitely need to do a stream with her, and that'll be crazy.
Send her this one. Let her know this is how I roll, and my rapport and whatnot, and what to expect, and get us all in one together where we can cut up and have a couple glasses of wine and talk about how the 90s and 2000s were awesome. And
they
how
were.
Everything nowadays sucks.
Kind of.
No, it's all good. But yeah, for sure, dude.
All right, that was awesome. All right, everyone.
No, it has been an absolute honor, and I'm glad to be here. And please let me know, like, next month or a month after, or however often you do these things, if you want to get one going, and maybe even also with some other people from my group that are like super Star Fox fans, like Too Much Dynamite or anyone else that works on Star Fox stuff. We'd love to come out and hang out with you, because this was fun.
To.
I had a great time.
This was great. Yeah, no, I'd love to. We'll definitely we'll do something in the next month or so.
Absolutely,
I've been trying to do these more regularly, so.
Absolutely, I'm 100% down for it, buddy.
Awesome. All right, then. Well, that was the stream, everyone. I hope you all enjoyed.
Yeah, I had a great time. And thank you all for coming. Очень большое спасибо вам за поддержку. Thank you very much for your support. That's all I said. Don't worry, I was fun.
All right, see you, everyone.
Yeah.
I'm hitting
Have
the
a
big
good one,
red
buddy.
button.
I'll catch you all in the next one.
See you
Have a good night.
guys.